This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fan. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here with me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just ready to talk about a lot of awesome wrestling. What's up with you, man?
Nothing. During the intro, I almost felt like I had said, like, I'm Rich Latta and this is James Latta. In my mind, I was like, no, I know I didn't just say that. So, no. And I'm not restarting this, so it is what it is. We're going to roll with this. So, yeah, like, I have to make sure. I am, in fact, James Boyd.
James Boyd, a larger-than-life individual.
Oh, my God. Like, that's going to be a running gag for the rest of this show. I don't know how long it's going to keep up, but it's going to be a while around, at least for this show. Maybe next week, but we'll see. Yeah, man. Wild stuff. But I think you said that you had some plugs you wanted to get off before we got fully into it.
Yes. So last week I kind of mentioned it. I didn't get really too specific. Figured everyone would just kind of, hear it. Some people have reached out, which is pretty cool, but the One Nation Radio 10-year anniversary show. Please, if you heard the announcement last week about sending your audio in as far as any testimonials you want to give about One Nation Radio, how it's, whatever it does for you, whether it entertains you, makes you laugh, any feelings about James or I, we're going to play it on the air. I'm not going to listen to them ahead of time. You bury us on it. Do whatever you want. Try to keep it under 2 minutes. If it's really good, if you're hitting on something, go ahead and keep going. But make sure you're sending it to rich@socialsuplex.com. I've got a few in the email right now. I'm starring them so I don't miss any of them. So once again, get that to us by September 12th.
All right. Thank you for that, for the announcements. So I guess because there's not much WWE news that we actually have anything we need to spend much time on, I guess we can start with AEW. So, in starting with AEW, we have to start with CM Punk, first time speaking to us since he left with the, what we now know as or believe to be a broken foot or whatever. And, he starts off the gate by saying he has 2 bits of important news, one important, one not so much. And he says, we're in West Virginia. What town of West Virginia were they in, Rich?
Charleston.
They're in Charleston. So then he proceeds to say that's not too far away from, the inland parts of Virginia that Hangman Page is from. And then he says, you're up for a rematch. Let's do it right here, right now. While he's saying this, while he's in a cutoff tee, jeans, and some sneakers. So the crowd goes wild because they think they're going to get some super match. Obviously he doesn't come out, and then he says, that's what I thought. He said, that's not what I call it. That's not cowboy shit. That's chicken shit. Then says something along the lines of, word of advice, the apology should be as loud as the disrespect, and then proceeds to move on to Jon Moxley. Now I'm going to put it in park right there because
boy,
that's at that point, that's where you're like, okay, this has nothing to do with anything. I don't know what the hell is going on. what the hell was this? I don't, and then I look, I almost decided to go on Google Maps to see like how far Ayers Creek is from where they were. And it's like, is that don't like that don't like it sounds like that sounds like that
5 hours or something.
Right, like that sounds like it's in the same region but not the same area. Like that's not exactly a hometown boy. So I was like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, after that, you hear reports coming from a bunch of different places, from, you know, Sean Ross Saps, the Meltzers, saying that backstage there was a
VOW as well.
Oh, Voice of Wrestling. I didn't catch that Voice of Wrestling part. I listened to Flagship this week though. But the gist is, a bunch of people came out and said they don't know what the fuck's going on. They are. A lot of them are mystified. A lot of them are perplexed. A lot of them are also upset over what CM Punk did about, you know, the unprofessionalism of calling out somebody who can't come out because they're obviously not meant to come out, and thereby you're like making your babyface look like a coward. Which, you know, like, I believe totally, like, that's something that actually would be something to really be upset about if this was the 1990s, maybe even like the late 2000s. At this stage in the game, people aren't going to not like Adam Page after they later eventually hear that, like, oh yeah, this is what happened and this was a part of the show. This was some stunt that CM Punk pulled. But anyway, we hear that is in relation to a part of a segment that happened in the lead up to Adam Page versus CM Punk Revolution, where Adam Page goes face to face with Punk and says some lines, and they're lines that don't really have anything to do with like their kayfabe or disliking or tension over the AEW World Title. So I believe back then Joe Lanza from Voice of Wrestling Flagships was mentioning over and over and over and sticking on this point of what the hell does this have to do with anything? What the hell's going on? This is weird. And lo and behold, word has come out that like Punk felt a way about that, about the line about being, what was the exact line, Rich?
Workers' rights. You claim to be for workers' rights, but Hangman cut it off there, and we didn't really get the second part of that sentence, like to really, really drive it home what he meant. But there was one person that line was meant to affect, and it worked. It was for him. Yeah, it was for CM Punk, and CM Punk apparently like 5-6 months later. Well, before that, with that, like. In the popular like kind of conspiracy theory that I thought about at the time and heard about additional reporting from VOW that led to a huge blow up backstage around that time. There was a closed door meeting with Hangman, Tony Khan, and CM Punk, and there were things said to CM Punk that were so bad they couldn't make reporting, essentially. Wait, what was it said that by CM Punk or to CM Punk? To CM Punk. So there's also another element of like it being about Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana being a very beloved member of the AEW locker room, has kind of been jettisoned out of the way. He was going to be let go. But he was, kind of rerouted to Ring of Honor, and, without Colt Cabana, a lot of these dudes never figure out how to get money within wrestling. So there's a pretty big reverence for them. And then, you see CM Punk doing things like scooping the free cloud off of sticking up for Sasha and Naomi when there's no possible way it can affect him. And he basically, I think it was a situation where Hangman was fired up, said something, to build a match, but it went too far with one person who decided he didn't play like that. And then, eventually like it came to, this deal here. And I thought this was below the belt. I thought this was, I thought it was bullshit pretty much what CM Punk did, on TV this week. And it was definitely unprofessional. Yeah, like if I was Hangman Page, I would want to fight CM Punk as soon as he came through the curtain.
I don't know. Like, one, Adam Page doesn't strike me as that kind of person to really get that upset over that, because like this isn't, like I said earlier, like this is 1996. Where like you pull someone's card, they don't show up, and then the whole crowd thinks you're a hoe. Like that's not how this works anymore. People don't care. But I think that he should be upset in the fact that it was like, this is what you tried to do. It didn't work because like you're old carny, but that's what you attempted to do. So I would be offended on that front. And also, like, from the other perspective is like, you threw a shot at me, I threw a shot back. We're kind of even, but it's weird that from what you hear, what it seems like most people upset over all this stuff is upset over Punk's thing, and like it's perfectly fine that Adam Page did whatever he did. So I don't know what the makeup of this stuff, like it feels a lot like it ties in line with a lot of the stuff of like this locker room never or doesn't like the part where like there's new people in the locker room. That's what it feels like. It feels like a lot of that is the under current of all of this.
There's a lot of that, and it's a very competitive, ego driven business, and
has been for over 100 years.
Like, and this was not, and it feels like these factions are kind of a shoot. If you guys like get what I'm saying, like FTR is doing more stupid shit on Twitter, of course, showing their support for CM Punk. There was a promo from Kenny Omega after the show where he stressed about, we're not selfish, we're not tribute acts, we're not trying to be people that we're not, which could be interpreted as a shot at a lot of people. There's like the different other sides, like there's BCC that's been insanely protected. There's Jericho that looks like he wants to work with everybody because he's about $1. What the fuck is 50 cents? And you wonder if like I think some of that tension is good because it's like, all right, it's competition, but it's good to a point of can these dudes still work together and make money, and would they have problems losing to each other? Which brings us to another point with this whole thing where it was reported that CM Punk said that either it was said to Hangman or I think the likely thing is it was said from Punk to someone else that he would never lose to Hangman Page.
I keep hearing it as people heard it third hand. People are like, certain people keep hearing this third hand, but it keeps on being third hand. There's never any second hand. It's always third hand that Punk said this at some point, right. But never. But like this was never said to Tony Khan or to Hangman.
Right.
So for me, look, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm just like
the story of this company is putting over Hangman Page. So like, if you do that, like. I don't really have like much patience for you at this point. Like, at what point does it turn into a situation where you're sequestering yourself off, like Cody did, where he didn't want to either wrestle people, and stayed away from all the real people? And it's like,
well, is he staying away from the real people, or is he staying away from one person? Like, that's the difference. Like the Cody thing was just like.
Well, I don't know yet.
You can take it as a retrospect, looking at it as like, it seemed like he didn't want to work with any of the hot dudes because he was going to have to do some jobs. With the Punk thing, like, Punk has already done a major job to somebody else. And like, quite frankly, like, if they are, adults about this, even if they don't want to work with each other ever again, they don't have to. They have years worth of stuff before ever touching each other again. So so for me, I feel like, and maybe I don't know if, because I've talked about this I feel like ad nauseum with you over the like near 5 days, whatever it's been. And I just feel like people cannot like each other. People cannot work with each other in professional wrestling. It's fine. Like, you can continue to have successful wrestling programs around these two and have them be in their own, and never interact with each other. It's perfectly fine. People have managed to make this happen before. So like, if they don't,
but doesn't that suck?
Yeah,
but doesn't this suck for fans? Like, doesn't that suck for like, especially like the company that has been built
Is anyone clamoring to see a CM Punk Adam Page match again after the match that like people that was like widely like divisive of whether or not people liked it or not based off of them changing the belt to the biggest star in the company? Like, do they need to wrestle each other again? Let me phrase again. Maybe they need one just so they can get Page a win back, but outside of that, do they ever need to wrestle again after that?
I think he does need to put over Hangman at some point.
I don't think the way people are talking about it, like,
especially the way
like it's some Shawn Michaels shit, then like we don't know if like he still feels that way, right? Like the thing about the Shawn thing was the part where it's like those were fighting words back then. These aren't so much fighting words now. So like Adam Page saying like
I don't know.
Adam Page, how old? How old is Adam Page?
Adam Page is 30.
Adam Page is 30. Do you think what's more likely, him to be mad when he finds out about this, or him to laugh like incredulous, like what a fucking child? He probably laughed and said, "What a fucking child this is." I don't think he wants to fight over this. I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Adam Page has never struck me as a person that was willing to fight over being put over in pro wrestling. It's never like he probably thinks he's a fucking buffoon. He's laughing like, "What a ridiculous person."
Yeah, and AEW hasn't had these problems. They haven't had a problem with anyone losing to anyone. It seems like, you know, at the top. I seem to recall Kenny Omega doing clean jobs for Moxley, Jericho, and Pac before like the first pay-per-view even like was done, or excuse me, as soon as the first pay-per-view was done. I recall Chris Jericho putting John Moxley over clean several times. Mox has been protected in a different kind of way, but he did lose, to the Young Bucks, clean in a match before.
He lost the title to Kenny Omega.
Yeah. I mean, they did some, little heel finish, but like,
well, there was no real issue. You're turning to do a heel.
Yeah. Like
and then he won again.
Like he clearly had no problem doing business and, whatever. I'm not trying to say that Mox wasn't willing to, lose clean to Kenny or anything, but like
he put over Archer in the what's it called to give him the US belt last year.
Yeah. And with Punk coming in, if he's dropping that Molotov cocktail and you don't want to lose a Hangman, well, it's like, all right, well, who else don't you want to lose to? And the way this is all being split up, like we know who's friends with who. And I think some of that stuff makes for compelling viewing because like when it's a Kenny in front of a Punk, you're going to get all the same stuff. The stuff with Mox isn't going to get long enough to cook essentially, but there are going to be people that feel like Mox has been, riding this thing out from 2019 and then being super hot this summer. And it's like, there's a lot of CM Hogan going on, it seems like. So I don't know. We'll see, who he wants to work with going forward and things like that. But they have what it kind of feels like. Do you remember like late 1996, early 1997 WWF, where you have all these people that kind of want to be the man and it's a very competitive environment. I see a lot of that in AEW right now, and that
not to that level because everybody was still so it's still so different then than now. So like because people were gristling and trying to find ways to get out of jobs all the time back then. Like we're talking about one person. Like, and I'm sure there were people, programs in people's minds of things they want to do and people getting upset because they're not allowed to do it. But like, so what? That's pro wrestling. Everyone wants to do certain things and they're told no by the booker. That's what it is. Like, welcome to professional wrestling. I understand it's been kumbaya since 2019, but like, this is more like it. Like, you're going to have some input. You're not going to have all the input. Like, if you want to go back to WWE and see how that goes with Triple H, go for it. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna have more creative freedom in AEW than you are in WWE, even with Vince gone. Sorry.
James Brown Wyo says so different. Honestly, I don't think the Elite cares about losing at all.
No, they don't. In fact,
I don't think so either.
In fact, like by all accounts, they have to be told they have to put people over,
or they have to beat people.
Put people over.
Sir Sam says, I get a lot of what Rich is saying. Feels like
no, I'm sorry, you're right. I fucked that up. They have to be told they have to not put people over. Sorry.
feels like a lot of genuine stars and people coming up pushing for places will be great if they're happy to do business. Yeah, like they can use all of this, like, and also like the stuff that happened was not a work that was happening. This was real, but it can always turn into one. They can always like use this stuff to really like get get people bought in on this stuff. And it goes back to the MJF stuff. Like, these are a lot of real feelings, like between people that are competing for money, they're competing for time, and they're competing for the fans. Whether it's like, a lot of people that have, recently started watching AEW, people that have been like already like on the journey with this thing. And it's like, there's a lot of interesting stories to be told and battles to be fought, and everyone's not going to make it. Like, it's not going to, like, someone's going to leave, just like Cody did. Someone's gonna, drop off or not be as over as they think. It's gonna be competitive, and I kind of find that interesting. I just hope they want to work together, because if they don't want to work together, then we run into issues, and we start saying like bullshit. And what CM Punk did, I think, was really bullshit.
Like, for me, Yes, it was unprofessional. So yeah, it is bullshit. Just technically speaking, like for me, like I just feel like this story's been so overblown, and maybe it was just a thing where like so many people or so many of the teammates in the locker room have kept shit under wraps, and this was the part where like everybody's like, well, I need to tell my side on this now, because it seems like I don't think there's ever been a story like this in AEW where everybody's like just dying to tell everybody that writes in wrestling media their little side of the thing. Like this I don't think this ever really happened before. I don't know if they felt like they were a part of history, like this was like the beginning of some Sean Brett shit, but like it's not like like this is not the same as those two idiots working themselves into a shoot on an airplane trip, and then all of a sudden they find out that they really hate each other all along. Like, this isn't the same thing, but or whatever they were. I think it was on a plane trip when they decided to do this. I think wasn't Brett's idea?
It escapes me at the moment.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I think like either wrestle or don't. I don't care. Like, there's plenty of people for you to wrestle. If you want to wrestle each other again, sure. Like, but like this Page thing, as far as if Punk ever wrestles Page again, like he has to win. If not, then let Page be like, no, I'm never wrestling him again. He's told me he's not gonna put me over. Do like basically like what happened with Bret and John, like. Except don't get to the part where you're the champion, your contract's running out, and they screw you. Like, just like, he said he's never put me over, I believe you, so I never want to wrestle you again. No, thank you.
Ironic, doing all that Bret Hart cap, but he's acting like Shawn Michaels. Who knew?
He also liked Shawn too. He loved Shawn too. Just like, the Young Bucks love Shawn too. Like, it's so weird, like, the things that people take from being a Bret guy or a Shawn guy, when like most people are usually both, or anyone with some good damn sense anyway. But yeah, now let's move on to, as CM Punk called, the more important stuff. Punk then moves on to Jon Moxley. He said he's been waiting, I think he said some lines, he's been waiting for Jon Moxley. And then he said Jon Moxley, who is the third best guy in his unit, which is reminiscent, which is a certain pattern he has. Then for some reason he threw shots at Kingston because, Kingston loves to do work, shoot shit. So I guess he threw them back at him too. And he was like, Eddie Kingston, who's the third best Eddie I've ever shared a locker room with, the second best Kingston. These people are number one at anything. I fucking chuckled when he said that. Moxley comes out, and it gets heated. Like, Moxley, does the whole part where he's like, like, you're in your own world.
Yeah, Punk got to stop reading the bad faith WWE Twitter accounts for his material.
As far as the Moxley, it says the Moxley thing?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's fair game, seeing as like they have to play in the part where like this isn't the first time we've wrestled each other before, right?
Wouldn't it be more powerful if he says like you're the best guy in your units? But I don't know. That's I'm thinking like Chris Jericho. I'm thinking like Chris Jericho, where it's like build your opponents up, because if you beat them, it's like, oh yeah, you beat the third best guy. Like, no, man, say you beat the best guy.
Okay, so I think at this point, like, given how CM Punk works, seeing how, like, people like Eddie Kingston work, seeing how people like MJF work in this company, they don't have to do that, and it still somehow works and doesn't somehow bury the guys. I think we're just past that point where saying that kind of stuff, like, actually buries people at this point anymore. It doesn't matter. You just sling mud indiscriminately, because that's what they do in AEW.
And it's like,
they've always done it in AEW.
You're putting over, like,
Jericho's like the only person that still follows these rules.
Like, you're putting over, like, WWE guys being better than this guy. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, that's lame. Like,
everybody slings mud indiscriminately. I don't know why you're hanging up on this Punk thing. So, like, are you at this point where, like, you're just done with Punk? Like, do you want him to quit?
No, I don't want him to quit, but I want his material to be sharper. Like, it feels like
you thought this wasn't a great promo?
I think Moxley killed him.
You thought this wasn't a great Punk promo?
No.
I'm sorry. We just gonna have to disagree, bro. I'm sorry. Like, this was a killer promo. He buried all of his enemies. No, not even getting into the Page thing. Like, he set this dude up to come out here. They go face to face, and literally he's leaning heel because it's a face versus face thing, and he's doing the job of, I have to be the person because I'm the bigger star. I haven't been here. I need to lean heel. And, like, whether or not he intended to, like, the Adam Page part for a lot of people is going to be a part of the leaning heel part, but him coming out and him being just a jerk completely to Moxley. And then Moxley fires back, and then he talks about, like, I've been the heart and soul of this company. And then Punk says, all right, you be the heart and soul. Since you're going to be that, I'll be the dollars and cents. Like, that's a line of him being a smarmy dick. Like, I think he's doing the job great. I feel like, and then they did, Moxley then goes on and says, that belt you have on your shoulder, it don't mean shit. And I was like, I don't know about this one. And then he saved it by saying, like, this belt on my shoulder, it don't mean shit until I beat you. And then he throws the belts down. And then he says, like, look, at some point he talks about, you've lost your edge, you lost your fighting spirit. And then he's basically daring him to start to swing so they can start fighting. And then,
kisses him.
Yeah. I don't know. Isn't it some callback to, like, Effie match he had or something recently?
Told him, yeah, he was like, basically, like, let's keep it a stack. Like, you came back because you were broke.
Yes, that was a great line. Because, like, we don't know whether or not Punk is actually broke.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, because, like, he's also notoriously cheap and he made a lot of money, he was on top in WWE, but, like, at the same time, like, why did he come back? Like, for the love of the game? Maybe. But, like, I feel like the check also helps the love of the game, right?
Right.
So, like, then they start fighting, and then, like, I saw a video on Twitter of somebody, like, putting in black and white, and then showing them throwing their punches back and forth, and then they put the Limp Bizkit My Way over the top of it, and I fucking howled. Because
this was a terrible brawl.
Bro, you know what's crazy?
Bad.
I feel like we're the only people that, I feel like our group of people, like, the only people that, like, called it out for being flat out awful. It was, like, the punches were they were whatever. But, like, the pull apart of, like, people getting in and then, like, separating them and then them getting free and then them trying to fight each other again, like, that part was awful. That part was horrendous. But, like, I saw people talk about, like, I think either Alvarez and Meltzer were like, this was fantastic. I was like, really? I thought this sucked. Like, they were more convincing throwing fake punches at each other than they were when they were trying to get away from, people to try to get back at each other, try to kill each other, because it looked like it
went on a little bit too long.
It looked like the separators weren't really trying to stop them, and it looked like Punk and Moxie at points tried to, like, make it, because of the lack of aggression to stop them, they had to also slow down to make it be like, well, y'all supposed to try to be like, y'all aren't just like, drill cones. I can't just, get you the fuck out of here with a club and a rip. So it was strange, but, like, it was hot. The crowd loved it. And then, it went to the back. I don't know if you want to go down, like, AEW chronologically, but, like, later, like a couple segments later, they bring out Tony Nese with Mark Sterling.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like because like they don't do unadvertised matches on AEW. So I was like, what's happening? Oh, Mox. Mox fucking clubs him in the back of the head.
Mox is clumsy fuck. He didn't slow down enough. He just clobbers Nese, and then as he tries to clobber Nese, he tries to turn and get Sterling, and I don't know what happened, but he fucking fell on his ass, and he got up immediately because he was embarrassed, and he knocks down Sterling. He comes down to the ring and he says, "I've had enough. Like I want this dude," and they do this, and they do a pull apart again, and then like, you know, going into the main event of the show, they announce like this match that was. I don't think it was officially announced for All Out, but we all assumed it was going to be announced for All Out.
It was kind of implied for All Out.
Yeah, it was because it's just common sense. They say like this thing is too hot to handle. We're going to put it on Dynamite next week, which has led to like a lot of people that I think are otherwise smart to like think that like they're going to like CM Punk is leaving the company. Didn't you just hear Moxley say he's broke? He's not leaving the company.
Man.
No.
There's just like I'm convinced you can say anything about AEW on Twitter and somebody
and people believe it. Yeah,
like it's how do we get here? Like,
well, people. I think it is like people have so not desperately, but people have like been annoyed at like the part where, and this is also a weird thing with like you look at the people that are fans of AEW main roster. And they used to always get upset when NXT wouldn't have stuff leaked for them, even though it's like, why would it leak? Like, and then like the same thing happened with AEW. So like they're always like feels like people are being unfair to them, even though like it's the people that are working for WWE main roster that's telling Meltzer and Alvarez all of this shit and other people. So like be mad at the people that you're watching for not shutting their fucking mouths, but. Anyway, like, so they get this little morsel, and now that because they've gotten this first little morsel, it has to be a mountain. It can't be a molehill. And like, I don't think it's necessarily a molehill either, but it damn sure ain't a mountain to me. It seems like normal things that happen in a competitive space where, like, you know, people can embarrass each other in public. So like, for me, this thing happened, so now like, people have conflated that, like, because it started with this Hangman Page thing, and, like, it with the Moxley thing, that, like, they're somehow connected. And, like, for me, I'm like, nah, the Page, like, how we just stopped off and put it in the park for the minute, like, that is its own thing, and then, like, this was the regularly scheduled program, and, like, oh, this is supposed to happen. Like,
right.
I don't know why people are acting like this is not changed.
A match was not like there wasn't an imaginary blow up that happened and didn't get reported backstage that I can tell you I probably would have found out about. Lethero Negra says, I hate that all of this is becoming a weird work shoot AEW fan culture war. There was somebody that was literally making up rumors like they were going to move Dynamite to 1 hour, and people believed them. Like, what? Like, it's just like, there's just like foolishness. So the title match next week, CM Punk versus Jon Moxley. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what they're going to do. Usually I have a conspiracy. I have some type of, way I've worked it all out. I have nothing on this one. And it's like, I don't think they're going 60.
I hope not, but
we know they draw.
You know, we know like they have no problem with like doing a match and then like having a rematch at a later time. Like they've done that before.
I think everyone's discounting that for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, you know, they did the hour-long rematch with Hangman and Danielson. I'm trying to think I understand that it was a big match at the time because it was a pay-per-view tournament that set it up, but like they did Moxley versus Omega, which at the time was probably the biggest television match they ever gave away for free. They did that and when they did title change, and then they did the rematch later, the next pay-per-view.
This is a company that does big matches on pay-per-view or on TV. Excuse me, Kenny and Bryan Danielson,
right? Yeah.
Young Bucks and FTR earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
CM Punk, MJF.
Right. They gave that away, weeks before. They did it in Chicago and beat CM Punk in Chicago and then went to pay-per-view after they told the story of him getting back to it. Yeah.
And I don't smell malarkey on this one. Black Sabre Jr. I smell some malarkey on this Punk Mox match. I don't, because when do they give us bullshit?
Right.
Like they give you a winner and a loser.
Well,
like it typically in these things.
The only bullshit they've ever really given us is when the fucking dud happened. But that was out of their control. That wasn't on purpose. They tried to give us that was a technical mistake, a technical glitch. That wasn't on them. That wasn't what they planned to do.
Like, as far as I think it's a situation where they're like, all right, we're throwing everything at the wall this summer. The numbers are kind of just
stagnant no matter what they do.
Just stagnant. So they're like, well, instead of just getting a pay-per-view match out of this, why don't we get a TV rating as well? So seeing as how the business is based on TV, that's what I think they want to do. Similar to Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, be like, yo, we're going to get a TV rating out of this and we'll do the pay-per-view match. MJF and CM Punk, we're going to do a TV match, try to get a rating out of it, and we're going to do the pay-per-view match. I think we're at the same thing here. That's the only thing I've got on it.
The only thing is, I don't want to see CM Punk wrestle 60 minutes. Like, I saw him work 42 minutes. I
don't think they're going to go 60. Like,
I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to get out to get another to get a rematch at the pay-per-view if they don't go 60. Like, how do they do it? Like, how did they get out of it? You know what I mean? Like, do you do the TV time thing where you put them in the ring at 9:30 and then you have them basically go or you send them to the ring and then they basically go 25, 20 minutes and then there's TV time remaining and then they
always announce 60 minutes for these. So I don't think they could do that. They would have to get them in the ring 9:15 or something and say, we will stay with this match, as long as it takes. And then I don't think, and I think they'll do a finish before, it goes off air. But that's where I'm lost. I don't know which way it goes.
There's a bunch of creative finishes they could do to where somebody
could do a double pin.
I mean, I would hate that. They could do it, but I would hate that. Look, there are a number of finishes that have happened over the time of pro wrestling where somebody wins, somebody loses, and you immediately want to see them have another rematch immediately. So it doesn't need to be. So I'm not saying that they can't do it because there's plenty of them. I just can't think of one right now. But we know that this has happened in history of pro wrestling where they come up with a finish where there's a winner, there's a loser. You immediately want to see a rematch and you find out who the actual better person was. So I'm not really, if they do that, I'm perfectly fine with that. I gotta tell you, I would like that a lot much more than an hour-long Broadway. So yes, go through all your Mid-South, go through all your ECW, go through all your Crockett, go through it, find it. Don't give me those 60 minutes out here, Tony. Do not give, I don't even call Tony Khan Tony. Don't give me those 60 minutes, Tony. Give me a 20-minute thing and get the fuck on.
I just hope CM Punk doesn't think it's 2004 and someone wants to see him go out there like Samoa Joe and wrestle for an hour and shit. I'm here to tell you, we do not.
And that's the thing though, right? It's crazy. One would assume he's in better shape than he was when he went 40 whatever minutes with MJF earlier this year. I don't remember what you thought of that match, but I did not like that match nearly as much as everyone else did. But
same.
But people loved that match, and then they went out and they loved the death match even more. So I
like the death match way more than the regular match.
Yeah. So for me, depending on basically what I'm getting at is this is a my taste thing. Punk might be perfectly capable of going 60 minutes with the right person, and Moxley at this stage with his wind, he is good enough to go 60 minutes at this point. I just don't want to see it because it's 60 minutes. And they ain't, Will Ospreay or Okada or Ibushi or Omega or Takeshita or somebody that's out of this world outstanding as a professional wrestler. So that's just kind of my, snobbiness. But, that's kind of the same thing why I didn't why I don't really love these blood and guts that they do because they go so damn long. So, yeah, that's more of a me thing than actually if it'll be good to most people that watch it. That's ultimately what matters. If most people that watched it liked it, then it's a win.
We had a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bryan Danielson defeating Daniel Garcia 2-1. this was excellent. I like this match way more than the first one, quite frankly, because they didn't really have to do the fake concussion stuff. I thought this was a little bit more like on the good technical wrestling, not the boring one. And this was like a very hard fought. There are some people that are talking this up as a match of the year. I'm not there with them. But this was like a great match with an almost even better post match.
I gave this somewhere in the low 4s, so I thought this was a great match. I did like this more than their first match, and I thought that like the way that Danielson sold drain damage, if you will, I thought that like it was more effective for me than the first match, where like he's concussed and he's fighting, just completely just out of it, and he came back too soon. He has post concussion issues. So like I felt like his selling was more on point for me. But yeah, like I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really good. But like that's kind of what Danielson is. Like he's basically like a walking 4 1/4 anytime you start, you give him a decent run time. So like it's really hard to at this point to discern some of these or separate some of these performances from any other ones. Like I thought that I did like the 2 out of 3 falls format, but like I would like to see him do this with somebody that's a bigger star than Garcia. Not to say that Garcia wasn't up to the task. I'd say he's not great, because he is. The 2 out of 3 falls thing, I would like to see that at some point in a singles format, like maybe even not with Danielson, like with 2 heated rivals, if you will, in AEW. Like I think that that kind of thing like sets up for like just great build. And like, I mean, we've seen Danielson have a great 2 out of 3 falls match before, him and Sheamus 2012. So he seems to have mastered this particular stipulation. But like, yeah, it was a really good match. And the post match,
Jericho's on commentary the whole time, essentially putting over Garcia. Garcia's, kind of winning the crowd over throughout the match. Sir Sam, shout out to him. He put out an excellent tweet thread that I believe even caught the eye of TK, if I'm not mistaken. At the end, they started chanting, "You're a wrestler," kind of debuting a new chant here, and in organic fashion. And James, like this small cult and secret club of AEW fans, just all together, just started chanting the same thing. It's like they understood like what was being gone for here. Like when Chris Jericho rushes the ring and he jumps on Danielson and Garcia pulls Jericho off. Jericho fires on him essentially, and they want to see him in the wrestlers unit, and
yes, they want to see him in Queen's Quest.
Yes, all 5,000-6,000 people in West Virginia. Yes, all going for Queen's Quest. But they start chanting "You're a wrestler" at him, and it's like this whole thing, like where at least Jericho and Garcia are going to be facing off next week in the ring, and Jericho's going to try to get some clarification. He said, that man was in the ring, essentially, got his bell rung. He ain't thinking straight. So we need to get to the bottom of this. Personally,
go ahead. Sorry. Oh, I was going to say, in a way, it reminds me of like when a few years ago, when like the word that came out that when word got to LeBron that Durant had said that like the whole situation and all the media stuff around LeBron, and not necessarily LeBron, but around
toxic
LeBron
environment.
was toxic, which is ironic in retrospect. But but he said that whole situation and the whole media circus around LeBron, because he's large in life, is toxic. And like LeBron, when he first heard that, he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to talk on that until I see the quotes or whatever else," because he was like, that's a dude that he's friends with. He didn't want to, he didn't want to get anything misconstrued. He didn't want to fire on that man when there wasn't no need to fire on him. But like, this is the same thing with Jericho. Jericho's like, All right, I'm gonna go back and give you some time. We're gonna get this shit to the bottom of this, get everything completely understood before anybody says or does anything that the other one will regret. And so I thought that he was, it's a good heel tactic to kind of, walk it back and say that we'll give it time to breathe and let people think about it. But, I really enjoy the Jericho and every faction he's been in AEW having an eventual State of the Union address type of thing. We're like, we need to find out how we're doing right now as a whole. Like, how do we handle this as a unit? How do we figure out how to, what's best for everybody? Like, he did this Inner Circle, he's doing it now. I enjoy these, actually.
Yeah. I find Garcia so much more entertaining in the Jericho unit than putting him into Blackpool Combat Club, where he's like, I don't know what number.
He'd be at the highest 4.
Right. And then instead of fighting Wheeler Yuta, I was watching the ROH pay-per-view and I'm like, I don't know how you watch that video package, didn't see that match and be like, they need to team up. No, they need to fight. But
unless they're going to be the tag champs.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. So, we'll see where it goes, but I can't quite put it away if Garcia's just being like, you know what? Nah, we gonna fuck Danielson here at this pay-per-view, and keep whatever going. But what else do we have on this show here?
Jericho Town Hall. Yeah, that's another good one.
Yep. They did Swerve and Private Party were backstage. They're going to face off on Rampage for the tag belts. Private Party was proud to be number 5, but Swerve said they're never going to lose them belts. And Lee says they're going to send them back down the ladder. We got the aforementioned Tony Nese segment with the second pull apart from Moxley and Punk. They announced that title match. And then Claudio Castagnoli picks up John Moxley like a child, which was fucking hilarious. I'm like, how strong is this guy?
Very. The answer is very. Sir Sam in here just said basically saying that they could do factions within BCC, and I got to tell you,
so it's really the NWO now. Good God,
not even that. but anytime you do separate factions inside of a sub faction inside of a faction or co-faction inside of factions, those factions will not last long. Yeah. Whether it's the Wolfpack in Hollywood NWO, whether it's eventually when we get to this House of Torture in Bullet Club shit, or the Elite in Bullet Club shit, or if you even get to the Cosmic Angels and Stars, eventually once you start up different LLCs, you're breaking the fuck up. It's happening. You're splitting money. It's always gonna go bad. Always know that once you start up separate gangs inside of gangs, them gangs gonna become sub gangs and it's split. It's how it goes in pro wrestling.
We had Ricky Steamboat walking up on Jazz, which was great. Steamboat was there because it was House of the Dragon after all.
Yes.
He basically said Garcia's coming into his own and he thinks he doesn't need Jericho. Danielson to be a better mentor for him. Then Jericho and Menard walked off, but Angelo Parker stayed back. I thought he was going to pull the blade on Steamboat. He didn't, but Steamboat caught back and hit him with that big chop. And he sold and flew off screen.
You know how bad it would have gone for him if he had pulled out the hair blade and had Steamboat thinking it was actually a real blade. He would have really hurt that man.
I don't think Steamboat was going to try to figure out the difference between.
Ain't no discerning. They mean, oh no, we're not doing this. Let me tell you let me tell you what Steamboat not doing. And I'm talking as if I am Steamboat talking in third person. Let me tell you what Steamboat's not doing. Dying, getting me a stabbing in West Virginia. It's not happening. Not happening. I'm taking you out. It's happening. You're getting shot to death.
So we got Gun Club against Varsity Blondes. This is very fast. 45 seconds, almost for the win. After the match, Billy said he was proud of his boys. They all hugged. And then Stokely Hathaway appeared on the ramp. He gave Austin and Colton the cue, essentially. And Austin and Colton beat their own father up on national television. And man, that was
an historic moment.
Yeah.
An historic moment.
How long they've been waiting to whoop Billy one of these days?
In a number of places, in a number of households, they became top stars. That is top baby faces for beating up their dad. You know how many people hate their dads?
Yeah.
well, yeah. But
Indeed.
Yeah.
And,
I think that comes. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on before we divulge too much personal information about each other. But yeah, like, hey man, like,
the Acclaim ran out.
Yes, the Acclaim made the save. This was outstanding. This is the dumbest fucking thing that has any pathos I've ever seen that people absolutely love. This is the dumbest. It is Billy Gunn, the one, Mr. Ass, a smoking gun. Yes. And this man, who literally...
Brother of Bart.
Who literally, all he is doing is being a fucking, like, 17-year-old, or not, that's much, a 14-year-old with the Acclaimed, when they're doing scissoring and all that shit, and people love it so much that, like, he chose originally, he likes his newfound kids more than he does his real kids. His real kids are like, Dad, you suck, like, you like these motherfuckers more than me, so fuck you. He gets his ass kicked one time, and then, like, the people that he turned his back on, who were his original, like, his, you know, he likes more than his actual kids, come and make the save, and everybody's like, this is the greatest moment ever. And I'm like, this is so dumb, but they're absolutely right. this is so stupid, and it works.
Lothario Negro, the dad that stepped up, Billy Gunn. I saw this and I was like, I can't believe this. Like, cause like, I was like, all right, I don't see what point there is in putting Billy Gunn with the Acclaim, but we're here now. So, the Acclaim seem like they're getting kind of hot. I feel like they're getting a tag title match soon.
I don't know if I said this when they first did the split before the trash dumpster match, but I was like, yeah, man, it would have made more sense because, like, it don't seem like the Gunn brothers are going to go nowhere, really. And, like, the Acclaim are hot and they're really getting out over off this riff of doing all this stupid scissoring shit with Billy Gunn. And then lo and behold, like, that was the plan all along. Like, this is so fucking stupid. And it worked. And it's right. And it deserves to work. This was great, but dumb at the same time. I'm almost embarrassed about how much I enjoyed this. I can't get a good face, you know, be like, hey, did you see this one movie?
Like you can't be proud of this.
Yeah, hey, did you see that one movie? Yeah, I saw. How do you think of it? This and the third go back and forth for like 3 minutes and be like, hey, so what else you watching? Oh yeah, well I got this thing on AEW. What, you remember Billy Gunn? Yeah, Mr. Ass? Yeah, what about him? He's doing this. He's doing what?
He's still alive?
Right.
Like, you got to start there. Like, you got to work through a lot of layers.
Yeah, like, he's even more jacked today than he was back then. Back then, he was huge. I know. And the rest is smaller now. And so, this whole thing, like, how the fuck did Tony Khan get Billy Gunn over in 2022?
Best booker and promoter of the year, Tony Khan.
Bro.
Cruising once again.
Bro, what year was it? Was it 2017, 2016 when he was out there with Tanahashi? People fucking hated his guts. What year was that?
2016.
16.
No, it was 2017. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, because that was the first Long Beach shows, right?
Yep. It was like, what are you doing here?
Right. Look how far we came in 5 years, Rich.
Taking where Gato's going wrong and fixing it.
Yeah. Okay. So on the opposite end of that, I don't know what they're doing with the team that Stokely has assembled. I don't know what this team is.
Bro, I told you. This unit, I am not. It's substandard conditions.
It's a whole bunch of like 6s and 7s. We're playing spades.
Right. You're going to have to get somebody. Somebody, please.
Jay's all he got.
Lothario Negro says, can Tony Khan get Evil over? There may be limits to even his greatness.
Look, I mean, the first start would be to get rid of the bullshit. But
hey, we're turning you babyface. So, and we're taking your group away. and you're going to try, they can start there.
Yeah. Like, forget trying to save Evil. Can we save Show? It ain't too late for Show. It's not. I think it's too late for Evil.
What else we got? Video recap. Lethal.
Scissor me. Hold on. Scissor me, daddy, greater than Too Sweet Me. My God.
So they had a video recap. It was Lethal, Dutt, and Satnam Singh. Basically sets up a trios match at the pay-per-view. FTR and Wardlow against Lethal, Dutt, and Satnam Singh. What do you think about this?
I wish FTR was doing something else. I wish Wardlow was doing like a singles match again with Lethal, but they wanted to put they wanted to do the trios thing. I feel like there's cooler things either Lethal, Wardlow, or FTR could be doing, but they decided to do this, and then like it also illustrates it like, oh yeah, like they could have done FTR and Wardlow and put them in the trios division for the tournament, but instead we got Trustbusters, which is like, okay, like, so like it's not as bad, but like it's stuff that kind of like I feel like it's a bunch of suboptimal stuff going on, so it makes me not think it's bad, but it's not necessarily bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if you put them in the tournament. I don't know who you have them lose to. Both of them have like tons of championships on already.
Well, have FTR lose to a team, or have Bald or Hair take a pin to whoever you want to win, and then like have the pin lead to a title match where FTR just gets the wins back in a three, whichever version of the tag titles they have, they're going to defend for. Like that seems like a simple out for that.
Have you considered these people don't want to work together?
Out of like 8 people, out of like 8 or 7 other teams?
Well, I don't think I would put them in the finals. Like I think you would have to have them lose before the finals, especially if the Elite's in there and maybe there's like Young Bucks, FTR stuff you want to protect or keep separate. One of the two. Well,
I don't mean like something. I didn't mean like they have to get to the finals just so they have something to do on pay-per-view, but like put them in there and then like let them lose in the semis to whoever's going to make it to the finals. And then you like, let's say, I mean, I don't think he would. I don't know, Silver and Reynolds, or I'd have to look at the card like who would be in place of Trustbuster, but like, or best friends, right? Have Trent pin Hair and then have Trent and Chucky T face FTR like in 5 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks on TV, and just have them get their win back. Like I feel like this is simple television or simple storytelling.
What else we have? Jungle Boy speaks. This was a struggle. This was not as good as his original promo
and
that he cut on Christian.
Yeah, he also got wutted.
He did. Yeah. He said he's not allowed.
Like he was happy about it either.
He was like, fuck, like, like one of those. He said he's not allowed to wear that shirt that he had anymore. It said Christian's a pussy, but he's nailed that shirt, nails it on the head. He's tried to hit Christian a million times, but Christian's done absolutely nothing in return. Jungle Boy challenged him to a match at All Out. Christian came out and said no. He said, he's proud of Jungle Boy, and he's actually speaking for once. Thought he was a mute. Christian said they both said things they didn't mean. They want to fix. He wants to fix things. He wants to go on another run with Jungle Boy and basically take him to the promised land and win the singles title. At the end of the day, we're family. I love you. You're like a son to me. Please come back home. Jungle Boy acted like he was going to give Christian a hug, but then tackled him.
He had double legged him.
Yeah, and started striking. I like this brawl more than the CM Punk John Moxley brawl.
Yeah, but I didn't know. It was like, wow, so this is the third like time geeks have assembled to break up a fight. Like I was like, oh, this is definitely like the build pay-per-view show that like AEW does. Like they'll shoot like a bunch of those type of things where like it's extra stuff going on like a couple weeks out. Whether it's 2 or is it normally 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out for them when they normally do it? It feels like a 2 or 3 week thing with them. It's always like just ahead of time.
Jungle Boy gets the better of him, stomps his stomps his hand or his arm into the steel steps or something like that.
He injured his arm, elbow area with like using the steps. Yeah, I think he like stomped on it like a double foot stomp.
They set up a Dax versus Jay Lethal match next week. Dax said he's the best wrestler in the world, which drew chuckles at, I don't want to give my address away, but they are going to settle it next week. And imagine saying this shit on the same day as the G1 final.
It was hours away.
It was hours before.
No, the final was on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
But either way, Osprey in that night match was fucking incredible. So like on the semifinals, so it didn't matter. Yeah.
Tony Storm took on Kylan King. Kind of enjoyed this one here. Kylan King is someone I always like seeing pop up. Hopefully they keep her around. Tony Storm got the win. She continues to gain pole position. She's the number one contender. They announced her and Thunder Rosa for the pay-per-view. Whether it stays that way, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if they'll add someone else to the match. But it seems like they're getting ready to belt Tony Storm up.
I mean, it would seem like that'd be the time to do it. Otherwise, like, why would you send her out there to take another L? I felt a weird vibe, like you mentioned. I don't know how you felt about it, like watching Rampage today. Like Britt is still hovering over all this, and it's like, all right, so how's
she's
Britt
facing Kylan King?
Yeah, and it's like,
maybe it's a 4-way, maybe it's a 3-way.
How's Britt gonna? That's I'm getting it. Like, how's Britt gonna weasel her way into this so it's not like the same match? Because Tony Khan doesn't really like doing rematches like that. That's soon anyway for a title. So
I feel like someone's getting added to this, and whether it's Britt, whether it's
once I saw the Rampage thing and she's still hanging on, I was like, because it's like, we kind of thought like it seemed like they were doing like the tag team thing, but like the way she's still on this is like this isn't just a tag team thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like she might fuck around and win that bitch back. Like, so they went over the lineups for Rampage and all that. We'll get to it when we cover Rampage, but it was time. And
for the main event?
Yes, it was time for the main event indeed. And I just gotta do it, man. First, before we do that, we had a great entrance from LFI with Roosh, Dragon Lee, and Andrade. This first time Dragon Lee's been in AEW. Very cool to see him. Came out in the white gear.
Looking larger than life.
Indeed, larger than life. All these guys, dressed to the nines, suited and booted. And I'm going to give them their props a lot later on in this. But then we got the Young Bucks coming out. Big reaction for these guys. They're kind of, the building's kind of shaking. And then all of a sudden, man, like, they hand Justin Roberts this index card full of information, and Justin Roberts launches into action. He starts reeling that shit off, like, former never six man openweight champion, former KOD 6-man champion, the North Carolina gag, and then all of a sudden the music hit. And then the building came unglued. Rich Latta came unglued. I was yelling, "Let's go," into my phone and my audio messages. I was losing my mind as I heard the battle cry for the first time in over 10 months at this point. It's been a long time since we got to see Kenny Omega wrestle, and my God, was I thrilled to see him. And it was just such a great entrance, and very happy to see him. Crowd goes nuts. Comes out wearing a black jacket, and he has like this black thing on. I'm like, what the fuck is he wearing? And then I'm like, all right, whatever. He'll take it off when he gets to the ring. Don comes out. Happy to see Don. Michael Nakazawa was out there. Haven't seen him in a while. And then this was like, Kenny.
Wait, you said Nakazawa was there?
Yeah, Nakazawa was there.
Was that the person that came out behind like Callis and Omega?
Yeah.
I couldn't make out who that was. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kenny was larger than life here.
Wait, did Nakazawa just come out to the ramp and go away after that? I never saw him again, I don't think.
I think he was at ringside.
I never saw
he was
him
at ringside. Yeah,
I must have just missed it. I don't know. Maybe I was thinking too much of because Omega comes down, as you mentioned, he's wearing like the black long jacket, and then he's wearing like a black, compression shirt the whole time, and then he has like the shoulder harnessing over the top for people that have like bad shoulders, and like I see all the black on, I'm like, I feel like there's an angle alert going on, and I was like, bro, is he about to turn on the Young Bucks? I don't want to see that shit. Luckily, that wasn't the case. But yeah, I continue on because I was like, oh no, he came out in all black.
Bro, you said that shit and I heard that shit. I was like, no, don't.
I didn't want to say that shit neither. I was like, bro, don't blow me. Don't tell me after like 10 months of this man being gone, I gotta boo him immediately again. Like, nah, man, like turn that shit over with. Like, sorry, bro. Like I know he was evil before. I know he's done nothing to redeem himself, or whatever else. But like, same thing with the Ciampa thing back in 2019. Like, yeah, you broke your neck, you came back. Happy to see you. I'm sorry. I know you were a bastard then, but like you weren't. This is a bad hand you was dealt, and I'm glad you're back. I'm sorry. I don't want to boo you. I'm sorry. I just don't.
They immediately like Callis joins Ross on commentary, and then Ross just is miserable the whole match, and Don had to keep like essentially like they was treating him like it was like like Ross was included in like, hey, they're good guys now, Jim. You kind of want to put them over a little bit, but this whole thing kicked off. Like Kenny comes out, he's got the gear on, and then he has this match with these guys, and this is the next chapter of greatness of Kenny Omega, playing these people like fiddles throughout this match. That like everyone's just freaking out, like whether it's the safety police, whether there's people that think the evil big bad Tony Khan is forcing him to get in the ring too early. He's hitting moves. He's hitting his you can't escape stuff, and falling and acting like
on
he
purpose.
Loses his footing. Yes, he hits
the whole time. It was on purpose, and I was like, the whole like
in his own corner.
Yeah, to his own corner when people are there. Like, yeah, like it's like he normally does it to a neutral corner in tag matches. So. Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm a wrestling nerd and I think too much about like where shit happens in spots or whatever else. Like, but you wouldn't do that area. Like it's too big a risk that like one of the Young Bucks aren't paying attention. Their feet or hands are like on the rope and he'll fuck around and hit somebody or fuck something up. Like, nah. So whatever. But yeah, like he clearly fell. He laughed, and that also tells a part of the story of like the dude is super rusty and he's trying to work it off over the weeks coming. But like. I don't know. Like I didn't see much of that, but what I did see was like people were freaking out over the Dragon Lee dive.
That's another one. Oh no, there's another Dragon Lee portion too. Like yes, when I saw him do that portion, like with the taking a dive from Dragon Lee, I was like, oh, he's 100%. He's all the way like cleared. And then he would do certain things between sequences, between like the times where he was working you, where he would be like lightning speed, like 100%, like as crisp as he ever was. And I'm like, okay, like he's doing the stuff between the moves where like he's fine. Everybody,
he also
it's
did
okay.
He also did the part where like he starts his first time in the match, he tags out and then immediately gets tagged back in, and like he makes his face like, you tag me right back in immediately? I'm kind of tired. Like that was all a part of what he was doing.
He was holding his stomach and his ribs like he was exhausted.
And also selling the hernia injury, the hernia surgery or whatever.
Man. Yeah, this was a master class.
And don't get me wrong, like when people have, those kind of things and you hold on to it, like he did a really good job of selling. I just think the part where it's like, we think that highly of him that we kind of feel like it's going to take a whole lot for us to think like he's back too early and all that kind of stuff or whatever else. Like, I mean, quite frankly, I saw it on Thursday with Ospreay in his neck. Right. So like you can do it. You just got to be really damn good at it. But like his first match back and it's like, it's just a trios match, like in the first round of a tournament. I don't think he's out here like, really overextending himself to that extent. But whatever. Yeah.
Excellent selling. I think he's going to lose a piece of armor through every round, essentially. And then by the time it's the championship or whatever, he rips that fucking thing off. Everyone goes crazy. They see like he's in phenomenal shape. I don't know if people notice, like he looked like he had some more size up top. and he looks like he's been hitting the squats like a madman. Lots of comments in the chat right now. Sir Sam, this is such a godly presentation of Kenny. Kenny comes back and his selling is so fucking good. These dudes are concerned like he's really not ready to be back. LMAO. Retrogram, when he finally hits a Terminator dive in the finals, greater than moment. I know that boy Ospreay hitting the one wing angels, or I know that he's hitting Ospreay with the one wing angel after Ospreay failed in the G1 finals.
We'll get to all the Ospreay AEW stuff in a few minutes. Please believe it.
Yeah, James Brown Wyo, when Ospreay takes a shoot like V trigger next round. He has a dump truck at the back. Boy's been hitting that gym from Sir Sam. Retrogram, Don Callis is a babyface now. Jim Ross was being such a dick to him. JR was on some bullshit. Retrogram, JR was on some bullshit.
I'll take y'all word for it. I got to tell y'all, like, when Don Callis shows up on commentary, I tune out everything. I don't care. Like, Don Callis calling all the wrestlers in the world aside from Kenny Omega is a damn good commentator. When he calls Kenny Omega, it grates the fuck out of me. I don't care. So I just tune out. I've tuned out for over a year now at this point. So for me, like, I don't know what was said. Like Jim Ross and Don Callis at this point in the stage of the game with like 3 luchadors in the ring. Oh no, thank you. I don't want to hear nothing they got to say. Nothing. Sorry.
So Nakazawa had the super tight pole in the headset. Nakazawa was at ringside hyping up the crowd like it was a Stardom match. James Brown Wyo, the amount of people who didn't get that he missed the You Can't Escape on purpose pissed him off low key. Retrogram says it's the same dumbasses that thought Brian was concussed when he was back, plus the elite haters. He was Sir Sam. He was hitting everything perfect at the top speed. Then he'd fluff something. Black Sabre Jr. Kenny did that insecurity and those snapdragons like it was 2016 again. Kenny was selling everything he got surgery on. Yeah, this is like the comment section is going nuts.
This is funny.
Right now.
Nakazawa, like you mentioned, Nakazawa was ringside hyping up like a crowd, had the crowd like a Stardom match. Yeah, I heard banging on the mat like Kogo.
Nick Jackson and okay.
What number did Ron Artest wear for the Lakers?
37.
I'm glad I remember that. So do we just start calling her Ron Artest from here on out? And move on? Right? No?
Yes.
Okay.
But Nick Jackson and Dragon Lee were great together. No shock there. This was a Rudos versus Technicos match. These guys.
Whoa. 2 of them were Rudos, and 1 stayed at Technico, and then eventually he paid for staying at Technico. But yeah.
Like they were setting up the elite for everything. This was a shine job, and then like they let Dragon Lee do like some cool stuff at the end. But like this was a very underrated performance that they won't exactly get a lot of credit for, I think, just because the elite's doing all the flashy moves. They're doing, all the stuff with Kenny is like swallowing the room. The Bucks are just, doing the Buck highlight reel essentially. But these guys were excellent in this match.
I think the only one that really shined was Dragon Lee, but that's because he was in there for so much of the stuff.
Yep. He does that sick dive. They don't move. The people don't move because they don't know what's coming.
Look, because and that's the thing, right? Like, and I was saying to other in the thread, I was like, look, man, like like Dragon Lee and Hiromu, like that is my junior's feud. Like that is the James Boyd. That is James Boyd Pro Wrestling, right? So like, if I were there. And I see them moving in the fucking thing. And they put Kenny Omega on there. I'm like, hey, bro, he's diving. Get the fuck out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. So, like, I see it coming. It happens. Like, I see, luckily, he didn't wipe out too many people. I think they also moved the gate up a little closer so that, like, they didn't, he didn't go too far, then they wouldn't land on, like, fans. I think like a leg landed on one of the fans, whatever else, which does suck. Don't get me wrong. Like, but like the main concern for people was like, they had never seen it. Like, obviously, even if you've done it a million times, it's still dangerous. Same thing with Darby, right? But, he's done that a lot, and he's done that like in places where like there's also no give, there's no floor mat. At places that he's done this at. So like, I wasn't really much concerned for him outside of the part where it's like, you're putting hell on your bump car, kid. But But yeah, like people had never seen it before, or never seen it before, and they were unacquainted and they were horrified. And I was like, I'm kind of numb to it. I've seen it a lot. That's why I love him. That's why
it was really cool.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. It's absolutely, you know, peligroso, peligro, all that, brutal, all that. But, yeah, like, I just, you know, it's like when I see, like, women wrestlers doing shoot headbutts, like, I wince and say, damn, you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, like, I'm not like, you know, I was when I first saw, like, Shibata and Ishii doing it, you know, on Wrestle Kingdom. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a little different. Like, I'm kind of, you know, I've gotten numb to some of the most dangerous things in professional wrestling. Yeah. But like, it, you know, what was the finish? One Wing Angel, right?
Yeah. V-trigger that people thought Dragon Lee was knocked out, which he was not.
Yeah, it was like, who did he do that to in the G1 that one year? Was it Evil?
Evil.
Yeah.
And then he, puts him on the shoulders, One Wing Angel, and the Elite move on, and they'll be facing the winner of Death Triangle and United Empire. That's going to be a great match as well. Yeah,
they setting it up. They put it all in motion. And I peeped all this shit like hours before the show. We'll get to it. God, it's gonna be great.
This was great. This was an awesome match.
This plus what we finna talk about in like 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah. All great.
I did not have to be physically restrained. I didn't give it 5 stars, but I was really fucking.
I didn't even think about giving it a match rating, but I thought I'd probably give it somewhere like 4.25. I thought it was great. I thought it was also rushed. It was also very rushed. Like after the match, I don't know, like it was rushed because they apparently were cut short on time because stuff went over. It might have been the extra time taken away from CM Punk to shoot on Adam Page. I don't know, whatever. Maybe it was like the 3rd time they had to run out geeks, stop fighting. I don't know, but Andrade and Dragon Lee's brother fucking turned on Dragon Lee.
They unmasked him, DDT him.
Well, was he unmasking on purpose, or was it because it seemed like they hit the move and then like the mask came off during the move? Like it wasn't like it was
I thought they took the mask, they loosened the mask and they gave him the, you know.
Okay, and it came off after the effect. Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah. So yeah, man, it was really good match, great show.
Yeah, excellent show. One of the best Dynamites of all time, and I feel like we've been saying that a lot lately, but it's true. Besides that, Rampage on Friday, I actually watched this today.
I watched it today as well. Did you watch it because I was watching it? And you felt guilty that I watched it?
Well, yeah, I wanted to make sure I saw it just in case, you know. Well, I definitely wanted to watch Trustbusters, and
oh my fucking god. You're such a goddamn gimmick.
No.
Man, why are you always falling shit to kind of rally behind? What is wrong with you, man?
I had to see the title match also, you know. So we open with Claudio Castagnoli speaking, cutting a promo, basically how he achieved the big one, and he's, you know, sending out an open challenge. And then comes Dustin Rhodes out, who they pulled out of mothballs. Said he's got a long history with Claudio Castagnoli. He wants to win the big one, just kind of like how Claudio did. He wants to win his first world title. Challenges him for the ROH title this week, coming on Rampage. And Claudio basically says, you've been on the best run of your career, and you know, they're basically setting up a match for next week. So yeah, I'm into it.
I like this. I mean, obviously, like, because of the matchup, it's just a great matchup. But also, like, I like the nice little story of like, you were one of the better talents of your generation. I was one of the better talents of my generation. You were able to actually become a world champion. I have yet to do it. Like, you were able to answer some doubts and reach that thing. I kind of want that, even at the expense of you. And then, like, they also did that in front of Steamboat, so that was cool. Yeah. Like it was a nice little simple story, and like, you know, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But either way, like, they're gonna have a really good fucking match.
So we got the World Tag Team Championship, Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve. Swerve hits the AB, put that shit on during his entrance. You know, and they're taking on Private Party. Private Party comes out. they basically have this match, and I think this is a match designed to do one thing, and it was to get over the JML driver. This is the first time he did it in AEW. This gave Swerve like the kick out of the kick. I think he calls it the house call.
Yeah.
Or the ego slide now. He got his main finish now, which is JML, and they looked very dominant in this match.
Yeah. I couldn't help but feel that like Private Party going back to kind of where they were before, like the Hardy family office and the Andrade family office. Like they're just basically like they just rip right back to where they were in like basically like beginning of 2020, and they feel cold. The reaction didn't feel like it was there with the crowd, but it was a decent little match. As you mentioned, like the whole thing was set up like a bigger move for Swerve, a bigger finisher for Swerve with the JML driver or Peach Bomb, whatever the hell, whoever had it first. It was Jam. Like, I don't know. It's basically the same move. It's not the same move. It's the same basically. But yeah, like it's I don't know. It's. Do we know who they're facing in pay-per-view?
It has not been announced, but I think it's going to be the Acclaimed.
Okay. They can make something work with that. Bones is really good.
So after that, Powerhouse Hobbs walks in on QT in the factory. They're playing cards, making decisions about the neighborhood. Yes, they are playing dominoes.
I had to bring it up because that one caught me off guard when that is expecting to be playing Bones.
He basically is upset. Basically, they didn't take out Ricky Starks like he wanted. Hobbs steps to the whole crew while the Olympic boxer is like in the back, just kind of like lurking, seeing if he has to come over somebody's shoulder. Hobbs completely punks Aaron Solo, takes whatever was in his hand like it was money or something.
I think it was money.
Yeah, and walks away. Hobbs looked like a giant badass here. But Zach Clayton comes out, cuts a promo on the crowd, said it's a shame that he has to win the FTW title in this cesspool. He's going to bring it back to a state, state that people respect, New Jersey, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
This is JWoww's husband, I believe.
Really?
Yes. That's why he's like saying like he's the reality show person or whatever. Like, and he goes with JWoww. And that's why he's from New Jersey. Is that
JWoww's first husband? Like, no, that can't be. He was like super tatted up.
That's who she's with now. I don't know about.
Well, I meant by like, whatever. Maybe I don't know if she got married to that dude, but like, dude, she was with for forever on like on Jersey Shore or whatever. Never mind. Let's move on from Jersey Shore. We can talk about the degenerate shit we used to watch once upon a time on a later show, maybe even on the 10-year anniversary. But yeah, man,
Jersey Shore was the shit at one point.
That shit was fucking hilarious. Like, what is wrong with these people? But yeah.
Runs the crowd down. Hook comes out, kills him in seconds, and Hook wins. Larger than life. Larger than life. Hook in this presentation right here.
Yeah.
And then since that match went so short, we got a standby match, which was Buddy Matthews versus Serpentico, and this was the execution as well.
Buddy Matthews. God! All right. This whole match is like Serpentico gets like one move, he shakes it off, and then Buddy Matthews hits a buckle bomb, Seth Rollins, then hits a V trigger, Kenny Omega, and then finishes him off with a last in Japan, Shingo Takagi. And like I remember, I don't know if it was the Jericho podcast or where it was when the first time I heard him like talk about like his like what he watches, his influences, his style, all this kind of stuff. And keep in mind, like, we had seen this dude, like, basically be a Kenny Omega, like, replica, a clone. Like, even though he's a great wrestler, I'm not knocking him. He's a great wrestler. We've seen him be a Kenny Omega clone, like, when he was the Cruiserweight champion and all that. And, like, I remember his response was, like, I don't really watch too much wrestling because, like, it's like a magic trick. He was like, it's because it's like a magic trick, and, like, once you see the magic trick, like, it becomes less magical. Right? And I was sitting there like, but bro, like, you have the New Japan Pro Wrestling moveset. Like, so does your friend Seth Rollins, but whatever. You have the New Japan Pro Wrestling moveset. Like, and then like to see him do literally like a Seth Rollins move because he worked with Seth Rollins, a Kenny Omega move because he's always done Kenny Omega stuff, and then do a fucking Last of the Dragon. I was like, all right, man, get the fuck out of here. Like, you're a great wrestler. I'm not knocking you. I love anytime he's up for a match, I'm down to see it. But like, after seeing that 3 moves in a row of him just pulling out of people's shit, just digging into people's shit, sampling, if you will, I was just like, okay, bro, I shouldn't hold this against you that much because you said this at the time when you said it, but it was like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Like, you are a creator wrestler. You're a great creator wrestler, but you're a creator wrestler. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing else.
You saw it. Do you disagree? You saw it after I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it and I was laughing. I was just like, man, when are we going to get him and Kenny in the ring together? That's what I want to see.
I want to see that too.
Yeah. So, that'll be fun.
That'd be larger than life.
Indeed. So we had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter after that. They were cutting a promo on Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. As was mentioned before, Baker is going to be facing Kylan King this week, just like Toni Storm did this week. So, or last week.
Yeah.
We got Penelope Ford versus Athena. I thought this was an entertaining short match. Penelope Ford kind of looked better than she had, like even though she's been gone for a while. Athena, I thought, looked awesome in this. Lots of presence, and her finisher looked amazing in this. And this was a nice short win for her.
I don't have anything on this. I don't remember anything except for the finish.
Yep. Penelope Ford had one like cool spot. I believe it was like up against the ropes. I'm not sure, but
I know. Okay, I remember that. Like, she basically like doing over the top for like a dive where she ended up landing on the floor after like Ember was on the apron, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I remember that one move. So yeah, that was a nice looking thing. Yeah.
So the baddies jump on Athena after, and then
all in heels.
Yeah, Athena comes out. She's originally wearing these wings and stuff, and she leaves the wings up on the top. Jade comes out with the sledgehammer, and she like tries to destroy the wings, but the wings never actually break. So Jade gets frustrated and kicks them out the way. Jade is like looking like she's 6'5" in these heels that she's got on.
Well, that's the thing, right? So Athena's not tall,
correct?
And then like Kiera, who also is tall, isn't tall, who might be even shorter than Athena. And then hold on, I'll get it. Casey, right?
No.
Fuck! I did it again! Fuck.
Layla Gray.
Layla. I promise you I'm not doing this on purpose. This is gonna be my new bald and hair thing where I just confuse like Layla Gray and Kate. God damn it. Anyway, she's wearing heels, and then the tallest of them all comes out in heels. I was like, this is some real like Charlotte upstage, you make you look small as fuck type of thing. I felt at the time like this is like a power piece because like not only were they like heels, they were in like the high heels with like the platform at the bottom type of thing. And I was like, okay. And then they use a sledgehammer on her. And like and at the time I'm thinking like all of like the Triple H jokes I can think of. I couldn't really think of any. But whatever. Like it was interesting to see a sledgehammer on AEW television that wasn't breaking her throne. I think it's the first time we ever seen it.
Jay was licking said sledgehammer as well.
Yes, that did happen. Yes, and then there's an all-time meme of Stokely with a sledgehammer and he's shaking it like this and yelling. Yeah. So that match, do you think that match is going to replace the potential or what was going to be the Statlander match? Or you think they get to it this pay-per-view?
I think they're going to do it on this pay-per-view.
Okay.
Then we got the first round of the Trios tournament. We got the Trust Busters, Ari Daivari, Parker Boudreaux, and Slim J against the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy and James.
Uh-huh.
I was into it.
Were you really into it, or is it just your thing?
I was into it. I'm digging the Slim J, who I've dubbed the replacement for Jack Evans in this promotion.
He's not a replacement for Jack Evans. He's a replacement for Jeff Hardy.
Yes, he's a replacement for Jack Evans.
He's not nearly as good as Jack Evans, but whatever.
Like the old Ring of Honor guy from 20 years ago with the shindy look. That's him. And I know he wears the Jinko jeans, but it kind of adds to the.
And he did the half twist, landing flip thing that Jeff Hardy does. Like, I was like, oh, this is clearly a dude that grew up like watching this backyarder in WWF. Like that's clearly what this was.
Yeah, but I was into this, and I thought that it was pretty fun. Parker kind of kept it to, real basic big man stuff. Ari Daivari was in and out, but I think this was kind of the Slim J show, personally.
Well, it kind of had to be.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
I fucks with Slim J. But yeah, this was best friends all day. Nice feel good win. I saw the kids were dressed like Orange Cassidy, larger than life. And he just, continues to be bigger than ever. And they move on, and they're going to be facing the winners between House of Black and Dark Order, who Evil Uno on BTE announced that he will be in Germany for the AEW Games stuff. So he is out of the tournament. So my theory of Dark Order members dropping like flies until Hangman has to replace one of them, it stands. As
Tell
well
me who
as
they have right now at their disposal without Evil Uno there. 3?
4, I believe, or 3.
Would it be Preston? It'd be Preston or 10.
It'll be
then,
Preston,
and then Beaver
Silver,
Boys.
and Reynolds. Yep. So I'm sure Preston will drop out at some point, and this is why the Dark Order's match is going to be last in this thing, because you see the Death Triangle and Ospreay are Wednesday, and then eventually Hangman's going to jump in, I believe. But yeah, man. So that was AEW. Breaking news, James. I'm not sure if you have come across this, if you've been scrolling, but Johnny Gargano has returned to WWE and was on Monday Night Raw tonight.
Well, that's unfortunate.
For whom?
Oh, well, for my fandom.
What you mean? You ain't gonna watch Johnny?
On Raw? On
He's
3
back.
Hour Raw?
He's back.
Nah, not really.
This does not come as a surprise.
It does not.
Me. At this point, if he wasn't going to be in AEW, I heard dark rumors that TK might not necessarily have been the biggest fan of Johnny Gargano. Not sure, however, that goes. Whatever it is, maybe Johnny wasn't the biggest fan of the idea of going to AEW. He shows back up. Triple H is reassembling the gang as we can move into, Road Dogg returning. We have the departure of Jeff Jarrett. I guess we should stick on Johnny for a little bit. So him staying or returning to WWE, and then it looks like he's programmed on Raw. I don't know the whole roster there. Ciampa's there on Raw, I believe.
Yeah, so he's Mrs. Bag Boy, basically.
Is their best shot reforming DIY?
Best shot at what?
Like not getting swallowed up on this thing.
I mean, I guess. But, I mean, it depends, right? Like, we don't know, like, what they plan on deploying Johnny Gargano as. Like, are they going to treat him like, like SmackDown is, they got, the new guy is Karrion Kross in theory. The new guy on Raw could be in theory, Gargano, right? Like, if it depends. Like, it depends on who they put him with. Like, if they say, hey, put him in with AJ Styles and see what he's got, I think that would do something. Like, if there's, put him in there with, I don't know, Riddle, see what he's got. It depends on where they slot him. Who knows? But, like, is he talented enough to get it done? Yeah. Will he reach whatever, what we think he could peak at the peak of pro wrestling, given what he did in NXT? I highly doubt it, because, like, it's still WWE, and he's still, like, 5'7". Ripped to shreds, but 5'7".
Yeah, I think he made the best decision for himself. Jumping promotions isn't always the easiest thing to do, and at least he's had experience with this Booker before. This Booker has kind of, I don't know, done questionable things with him in the past, but that probably feels like home for him. So,
I'm reading Sir Sam's comments, and he said like these bloody mutants who were slandering him in NXT are now going to be talking about him like he's better than Kenny Omega. I got to tell you, like it's gonna go one of two ways. Either A, he's gonna be great, and then they will do that, or B, he will not be great, and they will say, see, he was overhyped to begin with the whole time. There's no room for in between. There's no room to in between because like. He was like on this thing that they weren't watching and it was really good and they can't understand how something was good they didn't watch. So yeah, there's no winning with that when it comes to like either they love him or they hate him. Either way, like we'll see how this goes. But like for me, like if he's great, it doesn't really change what I thought of him. He was always great ever since I saw him. So whatever, it is what it is. He's talented to make it work, but you know how it is. It's hard. He's 5'7". Like if he was 5'9", I'd be like, oh, he's locked. That's how talented I think he is. Because that's kind of what AJ Styles was. So, we'll see.
We'll see. So I just hope that he... I don't know what I was going to say there, but...
Have realistic expectations. Don't think that like, just a Triple H is there that he's going to get, like, all of a sudden he's going to be the next Shawn Michaels.
Right. I think the best idea for them would be to reform DIY, redo the long storyline that they did, and then treat it like it's new, essentially. But these guys are older now. If they get themselves over to that level, I think people are dying to cheer or to see them make it work with Ciampa at least already.
I mean, right now, if you were to ask me who would be the best person for him to face, like, he's injured right now, but, like, given what he did with guys that were smaller, like, I think Cody would be great with him. I think him and Cody would be dynamite. Like, no pun intended. I just thought, I just can't just put in my head. But, like, yeah, like, you think of, like, how good Cody wrestles and how, like, he leaves the bullshit behind when he wrestles dudes that are smaller, like.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were yelling at another car while driving, let me say it again. You need to calm down. Yelling is just making everyone as stressed out as you are and letting them all know that you definitely aren't trying to save with Progressive Snapshot. And if you did hear it the first time because you weren't yelling at another car, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
Like a Darby, like Sammy Guevara, like I think him and Gargano like could be like a great matchup that like you might not really think about. And like quite frankly, like Cody after the Seth stuff, like coming back, like he would need like a killer promo. Obviously, I'm thinking months ahead of time because Cody's months away. But like that's something potentially like if he's going to be on Raw, that would be something cool to do. But it all depends on where he's going to be slotted and what's he programmed as. Like, well, y'all let us know what he's programmed in, where it seems like he's put out because I don't know if like he came out for like. Some random match or what the hell happened? No idea.
I think people were trying to say that he's going to take the briefcase from Austin Theory.
I hope not. I want him nowhere near Roman Reigns right now. I want him nowhere near that whole situation.
The match would never end. No one would get pinned ever.
Roman Reigns Gargano match?
Yes.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's just like I think that like. Well, it's Triple H. If this was Vince and like Gargano won the Money in the Bank, you already know what's happening. He's cashing in, and that man is catching a Superman punch and getting speared in half in hold.
Yeah, but I think we should take the plane over to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Actually, no. Before we do that,
since we're already talking about WWE,
being the Jeff Jarrett mecca.
You're starting with that for the WWE news?
Yes. What's bigger than Double J?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So Double J was made an executive for live events a couple months ago. We talked about it on the show. I believe it was like the opening segment of one of the shows. It might have been a light week, but came out.
I don't know if it was light week or not. You just forced it to go first, and I was like, "Look, bro, whatever. You want to talk about Jeff Jarrett first on the start of a show or a weekly wrestling podcast? Have at it. We'll pretend like we're from Memphis, Tennessee. Sure, why not?"
So Jeff Jarrett, it gets reported that he is out of WWE now. So he just departed. They didn't say whether this was a quitting or a firing or anything like that. But knowing Double J, something's around the corner. I have seen people theorize that he was the one that ended up getting Vince McMahon knocked off. And then he's like, my job is done here. I find that hilarious. There is something else that's in the news that, with the timing of all this, makes this kind of interesting. So, as we know, Jeff Jarrett headlined Ric Flair's last match. That was a show that was kind of put together by Conrad Thompson. There was some trademark stuff for Southwest Championship Wrestling that was recently filed by Conrad Thompson. I would imagine that Double J is privy to this. In the next, like I always predicted he would end up running WWE, and he got damn close, right? But I think Double J he saw what was going on there. It's not the time. There's always time for that. Remember, Jeff Jarrett always wins. He's just gonna go ahead and do his thing over here. I think where there's smoke, there's fire here with this thing. Promoting something with Conrad and going into business there. Apparently, his podcast is one of the better Conrad ones. I don't listen to any of them.
Better as far as what, like content, or as far as popularity?
I think both.
Okay.
Like, it can't be any worse than Eric Bischoff. Like, just lying through his teeth. But
I mean, okay, so the Bischoff podcast, there was at one point a Shivani podcast. There is an Arn podcast, right?
There is.
A Pritchard podcast.
Yep.
Are there any other Conrad podcasts?
If anybody knows, please leave them in the comments. I do not follow the Conrad verse. No disrespect to Conrad, is just I've kind of I like the Conrad stuff for like he's in there.
Jim Ross pod. Okay, I didn't know that was a Conrad one, but like wait, he's on that network, but he's not necessarily on that show, right? I don't remember Conrad being on that show, like actually vocally being on that show like week to week.
Not sure.
Okay, anyway, but like I rock with Conrad on the part where like he will do these shows with these fucking like habitual liars, and he will call them out on their bullshit in a way that like I would have had if I was in the room. So like I rock with Conrad on that, to at least on that level. Anything else I don't know about, and if there's anything else I need to know about, y'all fill me in, and I will know it then. But like I just know Conrad from like he's a dude that like helps put out these podcasts and is on these podcasts and runs down this stuff. And like when somebody gets in or lies through their fucking teeth, he'd be like, "Hey, bro, you're lying through your fucking teeth. Knock it off." So
right,
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know what will happen with Double J, but I know he was trying to win this award this year, so he may have to make a small diversion here, but I believe in Double J. There will always be some money around the corner.
Okay, moving on. A number of NXT wrestlers have been released in the wake in the news that NXT UK is being dissolved or transitioned into becoming NXT Europe. And their goal is to start going to do shows in 2023, I believe. And I think they put their names to cities around Europe. So a number of people got released. Millie McKenzie, Sean Samuel, Nino Samuels, I believe Trent Seven got released. Eric Dennis got released. Mastiff, I think, got released. Like, a lot of the people that were at the beginning of the 2019 NXT UK takeover run to maybe even before then when they were doing just the UK tournaments. A lot of them have been let go. And from what I can tell from most of these contracts, it seems like they got their immediate release and they're set to, they're allowed to go and do what they want in pro wrestling immediately. Like, I believe Eric Dennis is set to do something, or already did do something. I saw that Millie McKenzie is set to, unfortunately, do GCW Liverpool with Alley Catch. but yeah, like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, some of the names you saw, also notably, Webster and Mandrews, one of the better tag teams in the world, got released as well. What are your thoughts on some of the? Sorry,
I believe Trent Seven as well.
Yeah, Trent as well. What are your thoughts on like some of these names of the people, at least on the notable names that you saw be released, and your general thoughts on like this failure in rebranding into NXT Europe?
I think COVID did a lot to NXT UK.
Oh yes. Worse than how can you imagine like how bad NXT was once the pandemic hit, and then like it happened and it was worse. Like that show was completely irrelevant. Like it was already way down here, and then it went even lower once the pandemic came.
I've been vocal about regular NXT being a scam. So what do you think I think NXT UK was? Even a even greater scam there. Dave Mastiff had something, I think, at the beginning, but just never kind of worked out for him. Trent Seven got released. That one was a surprise, but he was always a great tag team wrestler. I saw him. I think Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster are going to be able to work wherever they want. I would probably look at calling them if I was TK. Millie McKenzie is very talented. But there's a lot of people, like, I think some of them are going to hold out to go back to NXT Europe. The Wild Boar, I don't think people are going to be beating the Wild Boar's door down. I don't think, Sam Gradwell is going to be commanding top dollar at the moment. So a lot of these people are going to hang around, wait for that phone to ring. And it basically,
how many people are actually going to go back to the Indies? Or how many people do you think are we like, oh, no, don't say no names, but like look at the list if you have a list, like just in your head, like give me like a ballpark number, a figure in your head of the people you think like this is the last thing they ever do in pro wrestling.
I'm going to say maybe like 10 of them.
Out of how many that you on that list you see?
Looks like maybe like 20.
Oh, half. Damn. Okay.
Shout out to Zekumaki subscribing for 2 months. Appreciate you. He said happy 2 months. I wonder how well the rebrand will go. NXT UK got killed due to COVID, but it gutted the UK indie scene. I'm sure to some capacity it will leave a sour taste in people's mouths. And this is the global localization plan is back on. I fully expect them to retry NXT Japan at some point.
Good luck.
And I don't like this. Like, it's like, it's just more like, I think they're going to try to lock AEW out of spots in Europe, essentially, because they're very popular over there as well. So this is the battlefield is going to expand in Europe rather than it just being the UK. They're going to try to get France under the arm. They're going to try to get Germany under the arm, all of these like different areas. So if you were sending out that Triple H, global map where he's in front of the NXT thing, bring it back, scratch out the UK and put a Europe logo on there.
Well, that's the thing, Rich. That's the thing to why this is so weird to me that like they rebranded it such, because like there was always a NXT Europe and a NXT UK on that map. That was always the plan to do both of them, and then like they scrapped it, and then like ultimately like when you looked around and you saw like a Walter, a Dragunov, like a kid, you're like, well, shit, I know it's NXT UK, but like it's fucking NXT Europe anyway. So, like, for me, it was like, it became almost interchangeable to me anyway. So then, like, them rebranding it is like, okay, cool. So, like, this is like NXT UK 2.0.
Right. It sucks to see people got fired, but, I mean...
There was NXT Africa, yes. That's what you were laughing at, weren't you?
Yes. I was laughing at NXT Africa.
There was always NXT Africa. There was the NXT South America as well. There's NXT Latin America. There's NXT China, NXT India, NXT Japan. I think there was an NXT Australia. I'm not sure, but like, yeah, like except for NXT Australia, all those were there on that map. Yeah.
Oh, all them shits fail. Sir Sam says, "Do you see Ospreay's promo after Rev Pro? If you're coming back here, you're sweeping the dishes or sweeping the floor and doing the dishes while these people kept the lights on."
I didn't see it, but I heard that particular quote, and like when people. Look, I understand Ospreay says a lot of dumb things, and if you want to call him a dummy, I'm not going to fight you on that, right?
But this wasn't one of them.
But given what we are with Ospreay, this particular what he's setting up and what like he has managed to get, what it seems like he's getting Rev Pro and New Japan Pro Wrestling and All Elite Wrestling to like set the table for him to do. And what he has also put in the legwork to do with Kenny Omega, he may say
what he wants.
He has figured this out as far as he may be a dummy as far as anything outside of pro wrestling, but he's not a dummy when it comes to pro wrestling. This quote, like he literally just basically set an angle, immediate storyline in place for the first time he faces anybody in Rev Pro when he comes back. Immediately, him and Andrews, what's it about? Oh, he said that these fuckers help rape the scene, even though he is in the scene once a month.
Yeah, there's a lot here that's going on with it. We might as well just jump over to talk about New Japan here.
Yeah, man. So the last 3 nights of the Grand Prix, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all in Budokan Hall.
G1.
Did I say Grand Prix instead of G1?
You did.
I fuck it. Well, I mean, look, that is a compliment at this point when it comes to the G1 to call it the Grand Prix. But whatever. Let's move on. Let's move ahead. But yeah. They go to the final night of the blocks. The blocks is the first night. It is the Tuesday night. It's 8 matches. It's 2 in each block. First block is D block, then C block, then B block, then A block. The D block, it is everybody tied, or basically tied, and in the clubhouse with 6 points at 3-3, with the exception being the last 2. You have Ospreay, who has three wins. You have Shingo, who has 3 wins, and Shingo has a tiebreaker. If both of those 2 lose, then it turns into a 7-way tie. It would have been a fucking disaster, and I hope they weren't going to do that, and luckily it didn't. They end up having Juice versus Ospreay first. Ospreay takes his nasty bump where he basically lands ribs first on the metal barricade. I'm like, this idiot is in the first match and he's doing this to himself. Jesus Christ. He sells his ribs. He ends up getting, I believe he ends up taking a floor power driver on the exposed floor, gets in, is able to come back and beats Juice Robinson. Match is okay. Then the next match is Shingo versus Phantasmo, and with that situation set, it's like Shingo either has to win to advance or Ospreay wins the block. No, I'm sorry. He has to tie. All Shingo has to do is not lose any advances. Sorry. So, El Phantasmo, he hits his moves. Great match. He hits a top rope, K Brada to the floor. I'm sorry, K Brada to the floor. He hits a CR2 for a near fall, and then later on in the match, he ends up hitting a CR2 except with the arms in a different position. He calls it a CR3. He ends up taking down Shingo again to win. Very good match. one of the better matches of the tournament. And after he wins, he gets to 3-3, and he beats Shingo, a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and Desperado's on commentary, and he walks up to Desperado and he says, "Bye, Despy. Bye forever, Despy." Like, I'm officially a heavyweight. I've done it. I've elevated myself. And I was like, and this was really good. This was a really good showing for El Phantasmo and obviously, and Shingo. And that wrapped up their block. So Ospreay gets in. Next block, you get Evil versus Goto. Goto has to win. It has to hope that Naito beats Saber to get a 3-way tie. I don't know what the play-in situation is or what the tiebreaker is, but that was Goto's only hope. Everybody cheats. You got runouts and all that kind of stuff with House of Torture, and ultimately Evil ends up winning. Match was okay. So Goto's eliminated. So then it comes down to Naito versus Saber, where Naito has to beat Saber to advance. And it goes like 5 minutes. They had the Ospreay, not the Ospreay. They had the Tetsuya Naito, Zack Sabre Jr. version of a high-speed match. It went like 5 minutes, and they're doing a bunch of near falls, like roll-ups. And then at the end, Naito ends up catching Sabre and gets the win. And Sabre loses shit in a similar fashion whenever he used to lose. And it also, like, in line with, whenever Suzuki or Archer will lose, but they just go ballistic at ringside and, throw a fit and start tearing up shit. And like, it's happening and like Saber, he falls out and collapses after having a tantrum. And then Naito walks out and is trying to like console him. But then like Saber sees Naito trying to like play with his emotions, and he gets up and he threatens to beat his ass again. So Naito gets away from him, and then Naito grabs an ice pack after Saber got back up and starts beating shit with chairs, with a chair, and like he throws the ice bag at Saber, and Saber hits it like a baseball. And then Naito, he runs Naito off again, and then Saber walks off in just disgust. And I didn't see his backstage promo, but like I heard he went ballistic as well again. It was just funny. So Naito advances. He represents the C block. B block. I have to pull this up to remind myself. Oh, it's Tama Tonga, or that's the main event. That's the only match that matters in B block. But the pre-match is Sonata versus Ishii. Ishii has only won one match. He's 1-4 in the tournament. And Charlton and Kevin Kelly, who are excellent on all the Budokan halls, but especially like the semifinals and the finals, they say, hey man, he's getting older in age. He's always one of the best wrestlers in the tournament as far as performance, but this is a wins and loss business. We don't know, like, if he goes 1-5, can he justify coming back because he's not getting it done wins and loss wise? So him and Sonata have the match, and it's a great match. And at the end, Ishii ends up winning with the Brain Buster, and he's 2-4, and that's a mediocre record enough to justify that he's going to be a solid keep going into next year. And then we'll have to worry and have concern and dread about Ishii's G1 appearances next year, but it's at least staved off to next year. When he, can still wrestle like the AEW wrestlers when they get, or American wrestlers when they get over, next year in front of crowds. So the final match was Tama Tonga versus, Jay White. Jay White is undefeated. He's 5-0 on the block, and Tama Tonga is, 4-1. He has to win to get in, obviously. They have this match, and like, it's a very good match. Like, I'm trying to think of what I gave it. I have to pull it up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so, yeah, they have a very good match. It is, Tama Tonga has this thing where, like, he doesn't wrestle. He's a good wrestler. He consistently has very good to great matches in this tournament. Like, the fans love him as a babyface. He's charismatic. He all the stuff we've always said about, like, why the fuck is this man's matches not on point given, like, what we see when he runs the ropes and moves around the ring and all that kind of stuff. Like, as a babyface, it's like, oh, he just sandbagging. He's a heel. As a babyface, I think he's really damn good. And like, quite frankly, if he was 10 years younger, I would make him a top fucking guy in WWE. I'd sign him immediately if I was Triple H or whoever else is in charge of talent relations. I'd poach him immediately. But anyway, he sets up simple, basic WWE or American style storytelling match. He sets up his comeback, and then he sets up for his finish. He does the clap, like, stun gun. He does the clap similar to like the Orton, Viper thing with the bean the mat thing, except he does it in like a clap where it's like clap, 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 clap. He gets the crowd into it. Ultimately it sets up to people reverse out of it, and then you keep going. Then you go through the, all the big moves and reversals, all that kind of stuff, and go to into the closing stretch. And then at the end, when it looks like he's done, he ends up escaping and hitting a gun stun and gets the W, and he ends up, upsetting the champion. And obviously he's going to get a title match, much like you predicted would happen, in the preview last week. So, at the post-match press conference, Jay White, known by a lot of the New Japan, Westerners as this dynamic, great best promo of the business type person, cuts another one of the classic promos, and whenever I see him, I'm always like, this is the person y'all say is so great at promos. This promo was just him for 90 seconds, just yelling fuck over and over and over again, yelling it, and that was the end.
What is compelling about this at all? I saw people heartbroken and devastated, and then coming up with their own storylines for him.
You gotta elaborate on what you mean. I didn't hear any or see any of this. What did you see?
It's just like god damn, like people come up with their own storylines for him, and why is he just this dynamic person? As you mentioned, he just yelled fuck for a bunch of time.
Better yet, when he beat Ishii in the main event of a show, right? He did this thing where okay, do you remember when Kenny Omega first broke the kayfabe and let the Japanese fans know that he actually speaks pretty good Japanese?
Yeah.
He basically taught in the same exact way, he's about to talk Japanese. He's like, I don't think these people understand me. I want to talk in their language. And then he proceeds to clap
Yes, I remember that.
In Morse code or some shit for 90 seconds, and then walked off. And I was like, yo, this, does he think he's Andy Kaufman or something? He's thinking he's doing Monty Python? What is this? I don't know.
Some people convince themselves that this is some type of 4D genius. So,
look, maybe he is. I just don't see it at all. Maybe that's the case. Maybe he thinks it's maybe people think this is the most brilliant way to ever get heat ever. I don't know, man. I think the MJF method works a lot more effectively, but there's neither here nor there. So Ospreay better promo than Jay White somehow. Yeah, he kind of is. Yeah, he kind of has been for years now, but whatever. But people don't like Ospreay for obvious reasons, and if you don't rock with Ospreay, you're well within your right to not rock with Ospreay. Anyway,
Look, advances. Don't let it be because of wrestling.
Yeah. If you think it's because he's too flippy or whatever else, and I can show you about a dozen different matches where he's not doing the flippy stuff that you think he only does in his matches or only can do in his match. So then
you should like flips because they're cool.
Say again.
And they should like flips because they're cool.
Moves, baby. So then you get this is a match that this is basically the death match spot. This is the match they put on at 920 on New Japan Pro Wrestling Dynamite. They did Fale out there with Archer. This match. I'm sorry, Fale and Jonah. Jonah's good. Fale has never been. And this match was a lumbering thing. And at the end, Jonah ended up getting the W. So then you get the main event. You get Archer versus Okada. Archer, I believe, has to win to get in. And Okada has to, because Jonah won and Jonah has tiebreaker, he has to win. Both of them have to win to get in. But because Archer beat Jonah, Jonah's eliminated. But so Archer comes out first, and he has his white jacket with this white hoodie, and he has a hoodie on, and he has it on way over his face. And when you have a hoodie way over your face, the back part that sticks out juts forward, and then like the cone thing looks like it's a white man. Looks like he's wearing something Klansman adjacent. So he walks out. He doesn't like, walk around and do his normal thing where he beats up the young boys around ringside or terrorize Carlton or anybody on commentary. He just walks to the ring and he sits in the middle of the ring facing towards the hard cam. And he's just sitting there looking down, and you can't see his eyes, and he's just standing there motionless the whole time. Out comes Okada. Okada walks in, he gets on the apron, he gets on the corner, he does the pose. In the background, you still see Archer just sitting where he was sitting the whole time, or standing where he was standing the whole time. He doesn't move.
You know what this sounds like, James?
What?
Sounds like all this is real larger than life right now.
So Okada goes to his corner. The ref passed down both of them, and then rings the bell. Okada comes around and is like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is this dude not moved?" He comes around, and then all of a sudden you see Archer raise his eyes up to meet Okada's gaze, and then he proceeds to beat the shit out of this man for the next 5 minutes, in Vader-like fashion where the crowd's oohing and awing, and it's actually really compelling. And he works over Okada's neck and just beats him up and gives him terrible neck damage. And then Okada fights back at a certain point, and then the ending stretch is basically Okada hits a landslide and then a rainmaker and puts him away. I think I gave this 4 stars, 4.25, 4 flat stars. Great match. Okada advances, so then it moves on to night 2. Semifinals. We're only covering semifinals. First match is Okada versus Tama Tonga. They have a great, semifinal match, and at the end, Okada ends up winning, with a Rainmaker. Tama Tonga basically, it was you can't beat this dude. The crowd knows it. You know it. Everyone knows it. He fought like hell. Ultimately, he couldn't beat him, and Okada put him away because Okada's a better wrestler. But at the end, they shook hands, and Tama Tonga walked off with the title shot in his back pocket, and the respect of thousands of fans, because this dude has completely changed over a new leaf in this tournament. As a good guy, and not just an ironic guy like he was a couple years ago, legitimately an actual babyface. So that was cool.
Look at that.
And then the main event is Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay.
And I saw this one.
Okay, so what do you got on this one?
So I feel like Tetsuya Naito hasn't tried this hard in I don't know how long. I have a watch next to me to shout out to Jeremy. I have a watch here, and that won't help me figure out how long it's been since he's tried. But Will was incredible. This is an awesome first time match.
So for me, what immediately went in my head was, I haven't seen a Naito match I've enjoyed this much. Since him and Shingo in the 2019 G1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in the same reason, effort level. I haven't seen that dude bust his ass and sell and be an actual a wrestling strategist that is pinpointing Ospreay's bad neck over and over and over with precision, and for a reason that in a long time. And with Ospreay's neck injury from the pile driver against Juice the night before, to go in there with Naito, and Naito, regardless of whether or not it makes sense storyline wise or not, all he does is target necks. Right, it was just he was just going to town on that dude's neck, and Ospreay was fighting, and then you get the run of the big moves and stuff, and then you get the breakout of Stormbreaker gets countered into a makeshift Destino that I gotta say I give Naito a lot of shit because he rightfully deserves it, but there are a few moves that pop me more than when Naito gets desperate and in a way to get out of danger, he breaks out a makeshift Destino. It always pops me. It always fucking works for me. Always. So, yeah.
That big poison Rana, or reverse poison Rana off the second rope.
Yep.
I was like, is Tetsuya Naito trying to impress me? Because it
right.
worked. right there.
Like, I ain't seen you at like this in years.
Yeah.
Like,
but ultimately, Will was too much.
Yeah. I can't remember how he ended up putting him away, but ultimately Ospreay put him away, and great match. Like, I've only given, up to this point this year, I've only given out one match 5 stars. This was the second one for me. Like, I loved this match. I thought it was brilliant. I was really like it did all the things for me. Like, Naito tried. Like, he looked like a smart professional wrestler. Ospreay was on point like he almost always is. The stage, the setting, the first time matchup, like the storytelling and the selling of the neck. Like, it did everything I need a pro wrestling match to do in a big stage. I loved it. Great athleticism too.
I was a coward.
That's fine.
3/4.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But I love this match. So
I have so many 4 3/4 this year. Like, I've been infected with a lot of cowardice this year.
I think that, like, I've just like standardly just given almost everything 4.5 and like moved on my day. Like, I think I probably have like 10 or 12 like 5 or 4 3/4. Like, everything else is like 4.5. Just throw it there. I don't have time to think about debating about how great this match is. And anyway, so yeah, like, great match, and this sets up for the night 1 or the G1 final, Will Ospreay versus Okada. And that Ospreay and Naito was the main event, so he gets on the mic and he says, like, look, man, like, I know that, like, I've never beaten this guy. I'm 1-6 against him. The one time I did one, I had help. I haven't actually beaten this guy. But, like, he can be beaten. I've seen it. You've all seen it. Like, AJ Styles has done it. Tetsuya Naito has done it. Hiroshi Tanahashi has done it. He mentioned all the people that have beaten beaten Okada in big spots. He leaves out Omega's name on purpose, and he says, like, I'm going to shock everybody that doesn't believe in me. I'm going to prove something to everybody. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win the G1. And like, I guarantee, he basically guaranteed it. And he moves off. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, going into this main event, the night before, he beat Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson has been carrying around the United States belt. Him and Finlay both have been carrying out the United States belt. The world champion, the actual person that has the title of United States champion, is Will Ospreay, but he now has the belt to go with that. So he comes out and he has the United States belt, and he has the Rev Pro, Undisputed Heavyweight, whatever title the Rev Pro belt is. And Charlton puts over on commentary, like, this dude has a real claim because he's the champion of the United States and the champion of Britain to be the real All-Atlantic champion. And I was like, this is like Wednesday morning when this is happening. So like my antennas start going off, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I look at the bracket, like, isn't this what I think it is? And the bracket is set up to where Aussie Open and Ospreay versus Death Triangle. Pac is the All-Atlantic champion. They're going to face each other next week on Dynamite, or this week on Dynamite in a couple days. And, like, obviously, that is the crux of it. And then on Dynamite last week that we just reviewed, Pac talks about somebody making claims to be the All-Atlantic champion. So there you go. Get ready for Pac versus Ospreay. That's going to be fucking phenomenal. And then you get to Ospreay versus Okada, and Ospreay and Okada have what I think is the best match of the year that I've seen this year. 35 minutes. They spend like the first 20 minutes, like, just excellent wrestling and working each other's necks, given like what they've gone through, in Budokan Hall leading up, and also like the career of, Ospreay with neck injuries. And then at a certain point, Ospreay breaks out. He hits a high fly flow for a near fall. Doesn't work. He gets him up. He hits a Styles Clash. That doesn't work. And then like he goes back and forth even further, and then he reaches out, pulls out the finger guns, and he hits a V trigger, and then he gets Okada up for a one wing angel. Okada ducks out, gives him a rainmaker.
The crowd breaks the law.
Yeah,
when he does this,
yes, they audibly gasp and chant, and they're into it crazily. Before that, there's like a crazy like twisting moonsault off the top.
Yes.
Before in like the first like 7 minutes of the match is like, Charlotte, never do this shit again. Don't even attempt it. Just give it up. But yeah, like Ospreay's phenomenal. Okada's phenomenal. There's an incredible spot where like he goes for an Os cutter, and Okada drop kicks him out the sky midair. It's like, Jesus Christ. And like at this point, like I don't remember none. I'm just telling you stuff I can remember vaguely through all the greatness that's happening in the ring. And like I can tell you most of the stuff that's happening is like me giggling just in awe, just incredible how fucking awesome these two are. Well, they're
just
for, like,
go watch it.
20 minutes of this match. And then ultimately, I can't remember. Like there was one spot where like I think there was a I don't know if it was a hidden blade. I think it was a hidden blade and a kick out of the hidden blade where I thought like Ospreay just won. He had just won. But Okada kicked out, and then you end up getting like he gets Rainmaker to death, and he's done. This is a brilliant match. I think it's one of the 15 or so best matches I've ever seen, quite frankly. Like, I thought this match was phenomenal.
Yeah, I went 5 stars on this. And I don't know, man. I felt like it was Will's time. I was kind of deflated. Like, and I know there's like a lot of, you can't have Jay White as the champion and then Will Ospreay face him.
Can't have two Gaijin.
I know there's a lot of that, but it just feels like Will's the best guy. Why are we fucking around? And if they're not giving him, like, I don't know if they're going to give him Kenny at the Dome, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just say they don't. Then I'm going to feel like really like pissed.
What the fuck are they doing?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Correct. But if they give him Kenny, it's kind of ironic because I remember when Kenny in 2017 was like, oh, you can't be in the main event this year. Sorry. And then they give him Chris Jericho. And now they bring in Kenny for this guy, Will. And it just feels like this hamster wheel that's like there is like, yo. But I feel like Will's like on a career run right now. And I feel like they should be going with him, but they didn't. And that kind of was deflating. It was like, man, at least the Jay White and Okada, okay. Or, you know, people were theorizing Jay White could lose the belt to Naito, and then it's like Naito and Okada again. Great.
I don't even know how to even get to Naito and Jay White, given that, like, how many defenses do the champions normally have before the end of the year?
I mean, he's only got one with Tama Tonga, so thinking, like, you know, like he's still got at least another one for that.
That's
so
what I'm thinking. Like Tama Tonga's not going into the
correct.
Dome.
So he's going to beat Tama Tonga and get that back, and then the next challenger like Naito, and then you know if they do Naito and Okada in the Dome again, I'm like, yo, y'all have done this match.
That'd be the third time, right?
To death.
The fourth time.
The fourth time at a Wrestle
Kingdom.
The fourth time. The fourth time within like the past like year
since 2014.
Like, there's no way y'all like this match this much. Like, stop. Like, I have negative interest in that. And especially like at the, you know, if it's not at the cost of giving Will something cool to do, it's just like it's just a lot of stuff I don't want to think about as far as like the business and stuff. I kind of just want to be a fan and see like the best guy like get crowned, but it's not happening. But not taking anything away from this match. This match was great. I was truly entertained, and it felt like these guys are masters. Like, just there's a lot. Like, you know, Okada has owned this guy, and it is kind of you beat him so many times. Will it mean something when he finally beats the guy? Like after this many times, it's a lot to that. So the answers lie in the future on that, but. This is Okada's company, and it always has been, and it seems like it always will be.
Yeah. I wasn't as deflated because there's going to be so much cool shit for him to do between now and the Tokyo Dome that I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're setting this dude up to be like all of the cooperation between New Japan and Rev Pro and AEW. I felt like they're setting this dude up to be like the next Okada Omega, like international non WWE guy. Or it's just like he's inescapable. Like, this dude is going to be quote unquote, like, not that it really matters or whatever else. But like a person that's like going to like be next year, like the 2023 like Sports Illustrated Wrestler of the Year. Like in that way where it's like he's going to be so killer and inescapable that it doesn't matter what happens in AEW, in WWE, given, like, for Western fans, whatever else, like, he's going to have a match with Kenny. It seems like he's setting up to have a match with Kenny Omega. He's going to be
multiple.
Like, right. He's set up to, like, win the G1 or topple Okada next year. And also, like, be the, All-Atlantic champion and all that stuff and be here and basically be on pay-per-views. And, like, at a point where, like, when we were talking about him, in 2019, where he was, we were saying like he's able to double dip when he transitions to heavyweight with like Best Super Juniors and the G1. Like, he's going to have the G1, he's going to have like AEW pay-per-views and big shows and title match with the All-Atlantic title probably, and he's going to have this feud, probably in the Tokyo Dome, if not eventually somewhere down the line in big spots with Kenny Omega. Like, he's going to be like, they're making him into like a legend before our eyes is what it feels like, a pro wrestling god, if you will, on Mount Olympus in front of our eyes. Even if you don't necessarily, if you're not someone that's not already bought in, like, this dude has been the best wrestler since 2019, which me and you both feel that way. Like, it's going to be inescapable and like foolish to like argue otherwise, like, coming this year. So buckle up for me. Like, and also he also has like a continuing thing with Moxley too from, was it not Windy City, right? Was it the DC show, right? Or was it the Chicago show?
It was the Chicago show.
Yeah. Windy City, right. So like he has all of this stuff. Like he's going to, like, he's set the path to do all this cool stuff. So, and then also, like, what he did with, like, the NXT UK guys, like, just now. Like, that's all setting up for when he goes Rev Pro for his, like, one or two matches a month there in his off time, off of NXT, off of New Japan Pro Wrestling Tour. Like, he is setting himself up to, like, if this dude can stay healthy, he's going to have, like, maybe the greatest year, like, televised in recorded, like, pro wrestling history. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't see all the 80s Ric Flair stuff. There's no tape for all that, but like, we've already seen Ospreay do this 2019. We've seen him doing right now, and like, it looks like next year is going to be bigger than any of that stuff he's already done.
Yeah, I think he's locked up Wrestler of the Year. I think this year, like, your most outstanding stuff between the last couple days.
I heard he had a match with, he had matches with Ricky Knight Jr. in Speedball.
Speedball after that.
I haven't seen him, but I mean, when they hit tape, what do you think is going to be? That's going to be the outcome.
Well, then he's going to be on Dynamite this week.
Yeah,
and then
in a crazy trios match, bro.
Like, Ozzy get ready.
Ozzy Open and Will Ospreay versus the Lucha Brothers and Pac.
Like, what is this timeline? What is this timeline? This is so great, bro. Like, this is so great. And I like Will a lot, so like, I'm not a stan for him or anything, but it's just like, he's incredible, man. And if like you watch this guy wrestle, and it's just like, he thinks about everything. He's not afraid of any type of contact. He's still does his flying. He's a really special wrestler. And I think the cool thing is that he's so young still. Like, he's 29, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 30 at the most. And he's just like people swear to God, like, that, like, other people are it, at that age or at any age. Like, no, man, the guy is Will Ospreay, man. Like, and it's laughable to compare, like, anyone, like, in his age group, I think, to him. He'll have to, he's still got growing pains, I think, at the top, like, as far as, like, getting people to really buy into his personality and stuff like that. But, yeah. He doesn't, there are certain things, like, that I just think he's an incredible wrestler, but, he doesn't, I don't think he has like people that are willing to like die for him. Like,
There's
live and
no,
die with him.
like there is no link to storytelling from the sense of like there's no like vulnerability like a Kenny Omega, right? Like the thing for Kenny Omega for a lot of people, for a lot of women that I've like seen talk about Kenny Omega is like the affection he has for his friends. And I also hear this about like Roman Reigns and the Shield at the time. Like the affection that like them have for each other in a relationship and that kind of stuff, like playing into the storytelling of like hurt feelings and frustration of things that like, a lot of dudes are just chalk up to it's just jealousy, or it's just like he just on one that day and like go through it and like kind of, explore that is why people, like this even happens with the Hangman stuff, right? That's exactly what the Hangman is doing. I don't think he's doing nearly as good a job as Kenny Omega would do it. That's why for me, it leaves me cold. But like that is like the run, like Ospreay doesn't really have that. What I will say though is this match, and I said this to you on, in everybody during Jeremy's birthday party on Friday, like this match was literally a love letter, like, in much the same way that like, I made the joke about like Kamatani and Tam, like they're whenever they get together in Sumo Hall, like it's a love letter to Golden Lovers, and like, the first Young Bucks and FTR match is a love letter to 90s tag team wrestling, like, or 80s and 90s tag team wrestling. Like this match was a love letter to literally to a motherfucker that's in the match. Like this was a love letter to the greatness of Okada and like all the people that he has faced over the years and all the people that he has had these legendary, series with, and to see all of that put together and the crowd oohing all over. Oh my God, I remember that. It was so fucking awesome. And like, you think about like, all the people he's had these feuds with, and like the thing for me as an Okada guy watching it, where it's like, I always watch this guy and he's always in the match. He's always in the best matches with all these guys that everybody else is like rocking with more. And I can't understand it. He is literally like, even when he has the belt or even when he doesn't have the belt, he is literally the champion in the stepping stone or the standard here for people. If you can beat this guy, you are a wrestling god. If you can't, come back later and he'll make you one later. Like, and when he goes through all the list of his foes' moves or whatever else, and he's able to kick out of all that stuff and then put him away, and it's like, bro, you're gonna get your turn eventually, but you gotta come up with something new, like some new super finisher.
Gotta be yourself.
That's a part of it too. But like, the crowd is behind this fucking Gaijin, and I'm like, I'm transported back to 2017 again. And I'm just like, this fucking guy Okada is great, and like Ospreay is great too, and like they've already had this is like their fourth, like 5-star match, something like that. Mm-hmm. Like they're just dynamite together, and like I just love the match.
Even then, it is. I don't know. I was talking to Josh about this, and maybe he'll explore when you go on Keepin It Strong Style. It's like, I don't really feel like Okada and Ospreay are rivals. Like it's
because one started way up here. One, like the whole thing is like look, you know better than I do. Like, but doesn't this feel like, but I think there could probably be some comparisons of like, this guy is the top star, and this is a guy that eventually in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years will catch him and then surpass him, and then like he will move forward and spring shot forward. Like this might be like, don't kill me when I say this, but this might be like a Kabashi Masawa type of story they're trying to tell. You know more of the details more than I do, and I'm just using like rough knowledge, not like the pure like, close comparison, like the story of like, this dude's younger, he starts at a lower level, this guy's at the top, he's gonna beat him until he finally does, and then once he does, it's a wrap for about the next decade, or as long as the dude's neck can hold up. Yeah,
that's a good comparison, I would say. Like, and don't kill me, people. Like, it's late at night as we're doing this.
Yeah, and Retrograde points like, and that's the thing, like the babyface nature of all this, like.
These guys are good guys now. Like, United Empire don't cheat. They don't cheat. Be on that bullshit. They've been my favorite unit. Yep. They've been my favorite unit ever since they've, got together.
Mm-hmm. And then like you mentioned, no cheating part, like the part where like the crowd is begging for Okada or for Ospreay to finally put this guy away. It doesn't happen. He's sent away. And then like, he literally goes up the aisle and walks off crying in very much same fashion. It's like the first time we ever watched New Japan Pro Wrestling where, like, you know, Okada wins the G1, can't topple Tanahashi, he fails, he goes off crying, and then he beats him the next year. Like, this was very much playing on all that stuff. Like, this was tremendous. Like, this whole presentation was tremendous. We even mentioned, like, the video package of the Ospreay when he came out, and he basically, like, show like, this dude has done literally everything to do in New Japan Pro Wrestling already at 29 years old, and only been a heavyweight for, like, since 2019, the summer of 2019, except for one, win a G1, and two, beat Okada in a fair one. He's already there. People just haven't really noticed it yet, but, like, once he gets that one fucking win over this guy, it's to the races.
Yeah, it's gonna make that Jay White shit look real funny in the light.
And the funny part about that whole thing, what were we saying when it was first happened, when we were doing the Jay White thing 2019 or 18 to 19? There's Will fucking Ospreay right there the whole time. But whatever, like, I think, look, they're eventually going to have something.
At least they got two of them. Like, there's also another thing, like me and Josh were saying, like, you know, they had to replace Kenny Omega, right? And I think he mentioned it, or excuse me, Karen may have mentioned it last week on Keepin It Strong Style. Was like, you split Jay White and Will, and then you get Kenny, essentially. Like, you get like the aura and the swag of like the Jay White, and then you get like the in ring of like Ospreay. You combine them all. And it's like they split Kenny into like two different guys.
They split the difference?
Right.
I never really thought about it like that. Because maybe it's because I'm a Westerner. Like, I don't really, like, obviously he's a Gaijin heel, but like, he wasn't that dickish for that long to where I would have held out on Kenny Omega in that way. Like, obviously I think he's better when he works more towards heel, but like, I don't really necessarily think of him as a heel outside of like the weird like voice times when he promos, but whatever. That's about it. That's really about it.
I was disappointed Kenny didn't break out that character on BT.
He didn't break out your little thing you set up.
Yeah.
There's still time. Time. Workshopping with him. Send him an email. Can you get a hold of Kenny Omega's email? Like, hey, bro, how about you do this?
I'm sure if I really like wanted to, I could get a message to Kenny Omega, but I'm not going to waste it on this. Like,
so, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I had on like, in like the Naito match was so great that like, I you know, the night before even the final, like I sent y'all a message in, the chat that has like, Sir Sam and Finishell and Chad Matthews and Floyd. And I was like, just going off on like, bro, they're setting all of this up for this dude to be like, just, and then to see it like hours later where they talk about the Pac thing, I was like, this awesome. And then like, you know what you're stepping into when you're getting a, Okada and Ospreay G1 final, like, you know, so it just went off and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a great next year and a half for Will Ospreay. I guess it's time to talk about Stardom.
Well, James, hit the music.
All right, so we're getting a little late in the game, so we're just going to talk about the pay-per-view from Sunday? Was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
Stardom X Stardom.
Yeah, Stardom X Stardom. That's the traditional name of what they used to call their Corkin Halls in August, so they decided to rock with that. They didn't do it last year because, like, you know, why would you do a pay-per-view in the middle of a round-robin tournament? And it's like, well, when you're hot, you just run as many shows as you can. So that's what they decided to do. This show was originally supposed to have Kairi challenging for the white belt versus Saya Kamatani. The story of the match mostly was based around Kamatani being on the same defense number as Kairi when Kairi lost the white belt before she, you know, packed up and left for NXT. but and she was basically trying to stop her before she surpassed her in her number. Unfortunately, like in the 11th hour, we found out that Kyrie, or maybe the day before, that Kyrie was deemed physically unable to perform. People are speculation that it might be COVID jail. We don't really know. But as
I thought they announced it.
They said physically unable to perform. But that is what they say for pretty much. But they've never ever announced. I don't think they've ever announced someone like just like outright was in COVID jail. Like normally, as a person be like, "Oh, I failed a PCR test and can't perform." So the placement they used was Himeka. They had Saya Kamatani say that, like, since my match fell through and I am still given my slot on the card, I would like to nominate somebody. And she nominated Himeka, and Himeka said, I don't see any reason why not to, except to blow up. Except to
get this money.
Except to blow up the fucking storyline they had put in place for her that was built up. That was going to be built up at a certain spot. But we'll get to that later. Huh?
So never mind that.
Yeah. I'd much rather semi-main event than a main event, a pay-per-view, but whatever. Anyway, so the main event was red belt match, Shuri versus Anai Takahashi, and the third from the top was tag team title match, FWC Hazuki and Kaguma versus the newly formed tag team of Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. So, I'm going to start from the bottom of this card and then go up. It won't take too long because this, show wasn't, it's just an undercard. Like, it wasn't like a normal, Stardom undercard where normally it's a lot of good and then really good in between and sets up, the last three matches. But, it was kind of uncharacteristically like lacking in, effort. It felt like you could feel the wears of the Grand Prix on the wrestlers. First match. Scrolling. First match, you get Hanan versus Amasaki for the future title. Amasaki got this match from pinning Hanan during a gauntlet tag match during a night 1 or night 2 of the Grand Prix. So this match was a mess. A lot of sloppiness.
I heard this was one of Hanan's like worst performances.
It was all over the place. I can't really. Amasaki in certain settings seems like given what she already can do, it seems like she's destined to be like, it's a lot of like what I thought of like Kamatani starting out, where it's like they're letting her do stuff that makes her different from like a regular rookie. She's, they already have her in nicer looking gear than even Kamatani had at the time. Kamatani kind of had like just standard, like, you're going to be a geek rookie gear, which she was for like a year and a half, but whatever. It was just sloppy. Like, it looked like she wasn't ready for a title match, which is weird because like I saw her have a match with, Utami. I've seen her get, murdered by Julia. She seems to have been able to hold her own with somebody that's really good. Maybe it's just a situation where like Hannah's still just good, not really good yet. But it was a bit of a mess. And then ultimately, at the end, Hannah put her away with a Hannah special, basically like a fall away slam that's held onto it and a bridge up off of it. I ended up giving this 2 1/4, which is like well off the pace of what Hannah does, which is normally 3 to 3 1/4, maybe even 3 1/2. It's reaching back an opener.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I was really surprised at this match. Also of note, watching this, like, they messed up the production of this, like, as far as the audio quality. Like, this felt like watching it. It reminded me of like watching like some of those WWE shows where like the commentary is so much louder and washes out the crowd and ring noise, where it's like, I don't know if this is intentional or where you're trying to stop like people from hearing like boos or cheers or chants so people can't understand it. But on commentary they had Taichi and Desperado and the normal crew, and like they were way up here in the crowd and the ring noise was here, and it was really hard to fill the crowd throughout the show. So you watched the title matches. How did it feel for you while watching? Did you feel like the crowds were dead because of that difference, or no? Or you felt fine?
I felt like it was fine.
Okay, for me it was killing me.
I didn't watch it with headphones. I watched it with the speakers out.
Yeah, that might have helped. So Next match, you have Hina versus Micah. This match is a put together match because it's supposed to be originally on this card. It's going to be Himeka tagging with Micah versus Ami and Mirai, where the winner were essentially like de facto new tag team title challengers. And we'll get to that later. But they go back and forth. They hit Sazankas and STOs and judo throws and all that kind of stuff. And then ultimately at the end, Micah hits her with her normal finish, or one of her finishes. She has two: the Michinoku Driver and then also the Inka Otoshi. Hits her with the Inka Otoshi, and Hina kicks, and Micah makes a face like, not bad. Michinoku Driver pinned 1, 2, 3. Gave her a little bit, and then gave her a girl pat on the head, and then walked off. And Micah just walked straight to the back. She didn't turn around when she got to the top of the ramp to get pictures. It felt like she was pissed that she didn't get a big match or whatever else, or a bigger match in the car or whatever. But she put her away. Then you end up getting Mirai and Ami. Their match got scrapped. They basically threw them into the match that Julia and Mai were going to have with Rena and Rocker to get a quick, easy win. And this was a 3-way no tag match like Lucha Rules. So they start, moving around. Good stuff between everybody. Ultimately at the end, Mirai gets in there with Rena and makes her submit to her version of a Kimura lock. Good match. Then you get a Captain's Fall match. You get Mayu, Ida, and Kogo, where Ida is the captain versus Utami, Azumi, and Lady C. And this also was a Lucha Rules match. Captain's Fall match. So Captain's Fall basically is, depending on the number of teammates, depending on if it's a Quattros match or a Cinco's match or a Trios match, is basically Survivor Series rules plus over the top rope elimination, where you have to eliminate everybody, or you have to just eliminate the captain, and you can win if you just eliminate the captain first. So
love those rules.
Say again.
So I love those rules.
Yes. So it makes it more interesting in strategy and all that kind of stuff, eliminations and weird orders and people and upsets and all that kind of stuff. So Azumi is the captain for Queen's Quest. Ida is the captain for Stars. So they end up. Can you
imagine if they tried to explain that shit in AEW, the way people were reacting horror and feigning confusion
about a Captain's Fall match or elimination match?
A Captain's Fall match with those same exact rules and shit. People would be writing think pieces and shit. Yeah,
it would be. It would be bad.
It'd be horrible.
But they're always fun. They're always fun. They're always fun.
Sorry,
You're right. You're absolutely right. People will lose their mind. What the fuck is this? I don't understand. And they're just watch the match. Stop. Relax. Untie your butt cheeks. Watch the match.
Be like, what?
Yeah. What the hell is this? And then the worst part is Excalibur can't smart him up and be like, it's a Survivor Series match with elimination over the top, fool. You can't say that over the air. So you just be I don't understand what's going on. Women wrestling? We forgot to mention during Rampage, because now we're on the Raw slander. During Rampage, when Hook came out,
oh yeah,
he's called the handsome, cold-hearted devil, right?
Cold-hearted, handsome devil.
The cold-hearted, handsome devil, which in Spanish translates to roughly to El Diablo Guapo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Excalibur, as he says both, moves on, and then 30 seconds later, Ross says, what's that there? Well, I'm doing the accent. Let me stop. I'm stop right now. Pull back. He asked Excalibur 30 seconds after he just said it, what is Excalibur? What is Hook's Mexican name? Not Spanish, Mexican. I was like, oh my God.
Speaking that Mexican.
I was like, oh my God. And he answered it, and it wasn't a pause in the air what should I do with this? He answered and moved on. Maybe he was answer quick, move on. Hope we'll never bring it up again. Hope no one caught that. I caught that. He said, what is that man's name in Mexican? What is his Mexican nickname? That wasn't Mexican, that was Spanish. Anyway, Moving back.
Gotta go, man. He gotta go, bro.
The man's playing defense against the show at times. He really is.
Actually, he did pop me. He said Slim J was his nickname in junior high. I was
that
like,
did pop me too. That did pop me too. Right. And then Jericho said something like, "Well, when you're 15," and then Ross is like, "Nah, 14." So yeah, like he. It's like this with him. This is a roller coaster, bro. It's a wave. It goes up and down.
You never know.
Yeah. So, yeah, he can't be calling Spanish Mexican. You can't be, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that on air. Absolutely not. This match, Mayu ends up catching Lady C with a flash hurricane for a three pin. Azumi ends up catching Kogo with Azumi Sushi after they played off of their high speed stuff that they've done in the Grand Prix and also their title match, their future or high speed title match earlier a couple months ago. And then so that leaves still Azumi and Ida. So now that's Mayu and Ida versus Azumi and Utami. And then it's in there and it's Utami and it's Ida, and Ida's holding on for dear life. And Utami has her beat and goes to hit her with the deadlift German bridging pin. And Ida tried at last gasp to try to hit the rolling victory roll flash pin. Utami just stopped her dead weighted her, and then just lifted her up and got her over her head and pinned her. And Queen's Quest gets the win. Also of note, I showed you a picture of Lady C, Azumi, and Utami's entrance at the top of the ramp with the gigantic 20-foot, Titantron thing, and with their Okada-like jackets on and the matching colors, they all posing together. They look larger than life. But that's neither here nor there. Time to move on. So, second title match of the night, fourth from the top, you get the trios champs, Momo, Starlight Kid, and Sakishima versus Mina, Unagi, and all cap Saki from Colors. This match was made after the first night of the Grand Prix, I believe, when there was a great match between Mina and Momo, where Mina gets the upset victory over Momo. Say, hey, you're a trios champion. I beat you. I want your trios titles. I want my title back. And so, this match at the end ultimately comes down to Mina and Momo, and Momo gets the wrench. She slides the wrench into her kick pad, and she punt kicked Mina's head square off her shoulders, and I think she ends up hitting. Yeah, after that she ends up hitting her peach sunrise finish. Yeah, I ended up giving this match 3.5. Very good match. At first I was like, why the hell did they have? I understand it's upset city in the first 2 nights. Why the hell would you do Mina pinning Momo? I was like, oh, this is why you get the win back and
immediately.
Yeah, immediately get it back. And Momo started out 0-2. Now she's 3-2 in the tournament. So they started her slow and now they sped her up. So that's interesting.
Hey, y'all Momo fans, I'm telling you, don't stay away from that narcotic.
They doing it again to themselves.
I'm letting them know. Don't do it to yourself.
This what I'm gonna say.
Beware of the narcotic.
This what I'm gonna say to y'all, just to give y'all a heads up. Just listen to me now. So they put out the poster for the final night for the Grand Prix final. Everybody's on it. Everybody's participating is on it. There are 8 people that are big on the poster. It is the top, the normal people you expect. Tam, Mayu, Julia, Utami, Shuri, Kamatani, and then the other 2 were Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. I'm sorry. Anybody look, I understand that Hazuki is 5-0 right now with 10 points. She was a little on the thing. I love Hazuki. She's not going to win the fucking Grand Prix. It's not happening. I'm sorry. And neither is Momo. I'm sorry. It's going to be somebody that's on the final poster, big as hell. That's just common sense. That'd be dumb to do it anyway, other way, right? If you're gonna be on the poster, if you're gonna win, you gotta be on the poster big as hell. You can't be small. I don't mean big as hell like they're fat. I mean,
bro,
proportionally sized and space. They take up a lot of space on the poster.
If I was a promoter one year, I fuck with people and I put out another poster close to that shit. Yes, exactly. Big head equals push. Lutero Negro. Yes, exactly.
I mean, look. Can somebody find the Rich? Can you go through Stardom's Twitter and look at the poster and tell me if I'm bugging when you see the vast like disparity in the sizes between the top 8 and then the rest? Like the top eight. Look, 8 queens and the rest is worker bees. Like.
Y'all just work here.
Yes.
You guys are the help.
Yeah.
You know.
Help me get over. Yeah.
All right. I will continue to scroll.
All right. So I'll, if you want to sort by media, you might be able to find it faster.
Okay.
So, because they posted a couple of them like in the last couple of days, but, yeah, it's a 10-1 show. So moving on, you end up getting to the main event, third from the top, tag team title match, FWC Kaguma and Hazuki versus Natsupoi and Tam Nakano. After FWC, you seen it. You're looking at it. Oh, okay.
No. I'm still looking for it. I was thinking about this match result.
Okay. Are you looking at the English account or the
English?
Okay, I'll send you to the domestic account. Sorry. So you end up getting after FWC won their last defense versus Ami and Mirai. I just sent it to you. They declared their next challengers. The next challengers they wanted to be Tam and Natsupoi. You see it?
Hold on. But let me see how long it takes me before I even find Momo Watanabe on this thing.
God damn it.
Bro, where is she? I'm not bullshitting.
You serious?
I found her.
Yeah, she's on the okay, right. So this is what they did, right?
It took me that long to find her as a shoot. I was not working. I was not entertaining for the camera. Can you put it up
on the screen for the streamers to see this poster so they can see? I'm not exaggerating for like someone like Sir Sam doesn't watch Stardom at all. You can see like, yeah, put the cursor over Momo, so your mouse over a Momo so you can see how small she is, and then see like you think this person would consider these big ass heads you see on this poster.
Okay, so if you look over here on the right-hand side, right here, this is where Momo Watanabe is with half of her hair covering her face. So you only see half of her face on the poster. So, yeah, it took me that long to find her.
Yeah.
So the big heads, we got the big people that, I don't see it for any of the other young ladies.
Right, but you see it seems like they're an established top 8 right there, given that there's 8 people big as hell in the rest of the 26. The rest of the other 18 people are small as hell on that thing.
Yo. Yeah,
there you go. So big head equal push. That's fucking amazing. So FWC nominated Tam and Natsupoi earlier, about a week or so ago, maybe a little earlier, like one of the first shows of the tournament. Natsupoi faced Hazuki in an excellent match, and Hazuki beat her, giving champion beat one of the challengers. Let's see where this goes. So, and also because obviously you normally don't like challengers losing to champions, but like the challengers are so much hotter than the have so much more momentum than the champions. You felt like it's just dead giveaway what's about to happen. But anyway, that starts out with Kaguma and Natsupoi. They do high speedery. It's very good. They build heat on Natsupoi. Tam gets in. Tam and Hazuki basically play a game of who can knee each other and kick each other harder in the face, or their opponents in the face. Like, Tam is trying to knee people as hard in the face as they can with V-triggers and bicycle knees. Hazuki is trying to, like, pump kick Natsupoi's face off at various points throughout this entire match. Ultimately,
good job.
Yeah. Ultimately, like, this leads to like the beginning of the third act, where, like, all of a sudden people just start falling out the sky and diving on each other. Like, it was a barrage of top rope dives, like, between Tam and Kaguma and Natsupoi in a row, like boom, boom, boom. And then then basically from there you end up getting the closing stretches. Kaguma and Natsupoi in the ring, while Tam and Hazuki basically are making saves for each other as they hit each other with big moves and kicking out, and big moves and kicking out. Ultimately, at the end, they end up clearing out Hazuki, and Natsupoi ends up putting away Kaguma with the cross jacket bridging suplex. Very strange is what she calls it, and they're the 25th Goddess of Stardom tag team champions. Throughout this match, there were a lot of things that, like, people were like Velcage and One Rich Lotta would have loathed in this. This was like,
I'm with you, brother. Shout out Velcage.
Look, this match, like, for those that may have never seen Tokyo Joshi Pro before, like, it reminded me a lot of, like, watching, like, a Magical Sugar Rabbits match of watching, like, these two almost like cartoon character cute motherfuckers, like, hold hands and come down to the ring and fight, and in the middle of a fight, like, hold each other's hands to give each other strength to get back up and continue fighting at times. This was like an anime. This was, I will stop short of calling this a great match, but I give this 3 3/4 because of the effort and the high level of wrestling. There was one uncharacteristically bad, like, botch, like, in the second act of the match, from Hazuki, but outside of this match, like, did everything it needed to do. But yeah, this was a kick-ass, tag match, and a really good, tag match, and transition over to, Tam and Natsupoi, and, like, I don't know if I want to necessarily eulogize, the two title runs that, Hazuki and Kaguma had, but, like, they were excellent tag champs and, like, one of the better tag teams in the world this year. And, like, you know, from the time that Hazuki came back, and then the tag league, and winning tag league, and then winning the belts, like, it's been one of the better stories in Stardom. And, like, you know, if Stardom doesn't really do, like, they're already the first time 2-time champions, tag champs in Stardom. I don't know. Seriously, that'll be a third time, but, like, I love them, and, like, I hope that they end up becoming, like, a trios team with, like, Ito or Mayu or Hannon or 36 or 37. So, like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, they're a great tag team, and I hope that they find a way to end up with, like, trios belts as a transition or something. Yeah.
We're in the mud, Velcage. We're in the mud.
So, the one thing I will notice, like, you know, Hazuki 5-0 throughout this tournament so far in the Grand Prix. Like, they have protected her. She's not the one that took this pin. Just, like, she's going to get a title match at some point before the end of the year, I feel like, given the way that they've protected her all year in this title run. So she had a great year, and, like, I'm so happy she came back.
The Zook.
So we get comments. So then we get the fill-in match, semi-main event, white belt match. Saya Kamatani versus Himeka. And this is the best match they've ever had. I don't think they've ever had a great match before. This first match they've ever had where I thought was great. And it was weird because, like, at the beginning of this match, I was not feeling it at all much. And then, especially at the part where they start, like, trading elbows in the middle of the ring for, like, seemingly forever. But once they almost kill Kamatani, I was like, oh, okay. Like, this match was on a certain level, and this is like, this wasn't on purpose, but it reminded me in ways of, like, the Unagi match from, I think, the anniversary show this year, where it's like, this match at a certain level, and then all of a sudden, like, there is a complete change, and things take off to just phenomenal level that where like you forget about so much of the first part of the match or even the first two parts of the match. Like there is a spot where Kamitani has Himeka seated on the top rope and is going for Hurricane Rana, and you know how that goes. Like someone stands up and then the Hurricane Rana comes and you roll off the middle rope. This did not happen. This was turned into a power bomb, but this was turned into a power bomb that wasn't exactly the safest in the world. And like Kamitani landed on her fucking neck, and I shouted in horror. I thought she had broke her neck. I thought she was dead. I don't know if there's been a medical checkup on her. She continued to wrestle the last third of this match, where it just goes to the big move set. And because of this fucking bump, everything that happened afterwards was then like heightened, because after that, Himeka follows up with a last ride power bomb that Kamitani kicks out of. Then she throws her into the corner, goes to the opposite corner, hits her with a running lariat in the corner, then lifts her up and gives her the running power bomb that we've seen like legitimately concuss Julia in 2020 in the Grand Prix that year. And she kicks, and then she gets her up for another power bomb. She's like, I'm gonna power bomb you till you fucking quit, till your soul leaves your body and you can no longer kick out. She goes I'm sorry.
She also gave her a lariat in the back of the head.
Right. So earlier in the match, she teased a Japanese Ocean Cyclone suplex. There's no Manami Toyota.
I was like, huh?
There's no Manami Toyota. There's no B. Priestley. So Kamitani escaped. So after this second power bomb, the running power bomb, she's like, all right, throws her body towards the ropes. She gets her up on her shoulders, and she's setting up to give the Japanese Ocean Cyclone suplex. And at this point, I was like, okay, you didn't beat her with the powerbomb on the top turnbuckle. You didn't beat her with the last ride powerbomb. You didn't beat her with the running 3 powerbomb. And like once she got her up, I was like, this is brilliant storytelling. She's about to hit her with a Flash Rana. A half second later, Flash Rana, and it wasn't just a Flash Rana to turn over the match.
Poison Rana.
It was a flash reverse Rana to turn into a like caught you in a cradle pin, and like she caught Himeka and Himeka couldn't kick out. And I was like, that's a pretty cheap finish, but I do like this story that like Himeka was clearly going to finish her and she luckily escaped.
Yo, this was one of those Mayu Iwatani performances towards the end of her title reign where it was like Mayu didn't fucking win. She survived.
Escaped Takumi. She escaped Shuri. Yes. Yeah. She couldn't escape. She couldn't escape the third time against Utami. Utami finally won. Yeah. That's funny.
I didn't think about that. I immediately got flashbacks of watching her and Takumi, and then her and Takumi in this match. This is the best Himeka singles match I think I've ever seen. This was excellent. I love this match, and it was like that run of offense that she put together was like, yo, she has Kamitani has the fucking Gatorade cup. How is she going to survive? And she just pulls it out, and I was like, I wasn't even spoiled, or I was spoiled on this match, and I was just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And then I saw that flash credit. I was like, I think she's gonna beat her. And then sure enough, I was like, oh, okay, I see what they did there. So it was like giving Himeka it was giving her a lot, and like really showing that she can hang at this level. And I feel like I'm kind of like looking at her in a different light rather than just, she's
just someone that's gonna be able to beat like 2 times a year.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, all right, so you can actually have expectations for her like to do very well. So I really like this match. I'm probably like 4.25 on this.
Yeah, I gave it 4 because like so much of the matches felt like it was just there, but don't get me wrong, like the close stretch of this is like phenomenal. But like this has been I don't want to say necessarily a run, but like this has been like this thing that she's had like ever since she got that title shot against Shuri a few months back for the red belt, where like she had the match for life. Then I think that's still her best match. Like that top to bottom throughout that match, I think that's her best match. And like this match, I think this is her second best match I've seen her have. So like, yeah, like they put her out there for the defenses. She showed up in a way that like she necessarily didn't show up when like she got the white belt match against Julia in October 2020. Like she is just like someone that like I can go out here and have a main event like that holds up with like all the stuff like the top wrestlers in this company do. And like in the G1, like that match she had with Otami night 1 was also a great match too. Like she is definitely improved as a singles wrestler. I always thought that like, you know, she's rock solid, rock hard as a tag performer, and she's super dependable, and she can always, you know, help contribute to a great tag match. But as a single, you don't really. Sometimes you felt like there was something missing there. I think she's putting it together.
I think I got to go back and watch her and Shuri.
Yeah. And then the main event, Shuri versus Nanae Takahashi. Now I was spoiled on this, even though I already knew what was going to happen and everything with this. We already knew the outcome, but like I was spoiled on this. But this still did not disappoint. This still did not hold me back on loving this match. I thought that these two went out and had a what do you call it? They went out there and they had a main event championship match that fits anywhere in pretty much any era. For pretty much that could have worked anywhere. They went out there and they told the story that the challenger is better at things than the champion was, but the champion has the heart, determination, the guile,
the passion.
Yes, and the skill and a different skill to differentiate herself to be able to change the momentum in of the match on a dime's notice against the challenger. And it came out to like, you want to try to brawl. Shuri normally is very good at the brawling thing, especially throws the kicks, but she normally holds on to the kicks to change the momentum late in the match in the third, you know, the third act of it. But she is beating up Shuri. Shuri then starts slapping on arm submissions, and then Nanae has to like struggle with dealing with like having a bad wing during parts of this match. And they're going back and forth, and like a lot of this match is like working off the part where like they're trying to make each other tap out the submissions, and then they start hitting their big moves. You get the freezer bomb, the refrigerator bomb from Nanae, top rope splash. You get Shuri, when she gets her momentum, she ends up hitting her Emerald Explosion. Doesn't put her away. Nanae, Shuri then tries to get her up for the one wing Emerald Explosion. Nanae gets down. Nanae then hits her with the landslide. She doesn't get the win. She later ends up getting the Nanoraka, like the arm or the hammerlock power slam, kicks out of her big move. And then Shuri, then they have this awesome, you know, throughout all this is these awesome strike exchanges. Like Nanae pulled out the funky shoot punch that I love so much, and then Shuri later on, and then Shuri later on like returned in the third act to change momentum. We hit her with her own shoot punch, and like there's headbutts galore throughout this match, and then shoot headbutts galore, and then like ultimately like Shuri goes to get her up against the ropes to get her up on her shoulders again to go for the one wing Emerald Explosion, and Nanae's not having it. And then Shuri said, in very much same fashion that like Arisa Nakajima had against Nanae in their last match from last year's anniversary show for Ceiling, just says, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna headbutt the back of your head." Just headbutt the back of her head. Nanae's out on her feet, gets her up on her shoulders, hits her with the one wing Emerald Explosion, gets the win. I thought this match was fantastic. It did all the things that I needed to do. I'm thinking maybe 4.5. I don't know, but for somewhere between 4.5 and 4.25, I loved this match. I thought it was great.
I'm in that the 4 1/3 danger zone. On that one.
Like Shuri's on a hell of a run. She really is.
A sad day for the people that don't like Nanae Takahashi.
Rich. It's not really that bad because they'll just go on Cage Match and downvote the match. Go to Cage Match, look at that match score.
I see. It says 7.46 on it.
Now, Rich, do me a favor, right? Go look at the rating layout.
Let me see some of the ridiculous comments.
No, don't even do that. Just look at the match ratings, right? Now, what is the number one? What's the most common or the highest, or sorry, the most common rating on that show between 10, 9, 7, and 8? What's the most common one?
9 and 8 are tied.
9 and 8 are tied, right? And then you see like a collection of 4s, right?
Yes.
So 3 people thought this was a 2-star match, a average match. So if you Exactly. So, Rich,
if this is a 2-star match, what I want to see the rest of their ratings history because they must have some fire that I don't know about.
Right. So
someone said slow, boring. It's like if Togi Makabe was challenging for the IWGP title in 2022. Bad lariats, very little bumps, and just a match that went nowhere. Can't recommend. Man, that is absurd.
Yeah. So now, like, I've already done the math since the last time I checked. I don't know if it's changed at all, whatever else. But if you throw out the people that are downvoting this for ridiculous scores of 4s, it's at an 8.5 on once you throw out the hate votings. So that's basically it's a 4.5 star match. People are out of their fucking minds.
People are literally giving it 2 stars. My God.
Yeah.
We got to get some of those Tokyo Joshi Pro voters in here that just throw 9s and 10s on shit. Like, we got to get them in to balance this out.
I don't know if that's what they like because they don't much like the brawling. They like the 15-minute title matches or the 18-minute title matches where, like, you make one mistake and your ass is done.
I like those too.
I like those too. Like, but comparatively speaking to like a Stardom or Sealy main event to the Tokyo Pro main event, sign me up for the Stardom and Sealy main events. Sorry.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be more violent actually than it was.
I don't disagree. If this match had happened in 2019 compared to now, this match would have been a whole nother level of violent and yeah, it would have been. It definitely would have been. You're right.
But they had like these looks on their faces throughout the match, like especially like when they were at the start of this match, like Shuri had this look like, you in here with me. Like, like, you know, I know who you are, but like you about to know who I am. Like that's what I got from Shuri on this.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match and like,
God, stop. These people are ruining these ratings, man.
And that's the thing. That's what I be telling you about when it comes to like these Joshi ratings. Is like all it takes is like 3 people to fuck up a rating, and then a match will be lost forever. A match that like everyone, that like if 30 people saw, 20 of them thought was like very great, or at least at the minimum great. And then, like, there's 3 or 4 people that fuck it up, and then they're just lost forever unless you just have the time to go dig through these Joshi promotions. It sucks. And this happened, and like, this seems to only happen to like Stardom.
Man, somebody will give us the answers why one day. Somebody will come out here and be honest.
Yeah. So, but whatever. It is what it is. Like, you know. But yeah, great match. And like, you know, I thought for a show where a lot of the undercard was kind of just, by the standards of Stardom, just there. I thought that, like, the final 4 matches held up their end to a normal standard, and I thought this ended up still being, it's not I won't call this a great show because the bottom, but, like, it was still a very good show. So, yeah, like, I would recommend the last 3 matches, or last 4 matches. And they move on. Like, we'll cover it. So at some point, we'll do a catch up on the Grand Prix. But for this, we're done with Stardom this week.
For sure, man. Just remind everybody, send in your audios for your One Nation Radio 10-year anniversary testimonials to Rich at Social Suplex. Get that in. Don't wait. I don't want to be scrambling towards the very end and wondering if more are coming in before I put this file together. I kind of just want to hit play and then let them all run rather than loading them all up individually. And, you know, I want to make it real easy for James. Actually, I'll go ahead and make, like, ideally, I'd like to lock it down, send the file to James so he can just paste it in and we can play it in live over the Twitch stream. So, but yeah, besides that, it's been another larger than life evening of One Nation Radio.
And on that note, thanks for listening, y'all. That's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you are watching from the live stream, you can see the links on the screen, the Cash App, the PayPal. Go there and drop us off a donation if you feel like it. And if you're listening in podcast form, go to the show notes or link description or show description and find the link to Red Circle, and you can donate there. And be sure to listen to the other shows on the network.
Also, check the clips, TikTok,
yes,
as well as the shorts on YouTube Shorts.
Yes. And listen to the other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, which I will be on recording tomorrow. And you have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. You have Gorman Watch This Shit. You have The Grave Consequences. You have 8-Bit Suplex. You have AEW Match Guide. You have All Things Elite. You have Great Match Generator. Get in the Ring. And Meet the Press Slam. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Kenny Omega's back.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
So yeah, I used the savings from switching to Progressive 50 years ago to finally buy my dream car. It's a self-driving flying car, but we just say self-flying now. You know, because it's the future, and cars fly in the future.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.